Without Danny Mack, Hamilton has had to rely on a pair of unproven starters. Toronto is a much improved team under Mike Pinball Clemens, and the Argos D will be out to tame the Tabbies again next.
Well, many times we're football, but when it feels just right, we're gonna kick back, relax, watching football on a Friday night. It's Friday, and we're gonna be hard to take.
Yeah, right.
It's Friday, from coast to coast, the CFL is Canada's game. Well, we're all pumped up to party, and we're ready for a fight. Come on, kick back, relax, watching Friday Night Football. Boys are too bad, playing CFL football. Game is up for grabs. It's Friday Night Football tonight.
They are the nastiest of neighbors. Argos, Ticats, it's a Steel Town showdown on Adidas. Friday Night Football. Yes, Friday the 13th, a full moon. I'm truly frightened about what may happen in here tonight. James Duthie along with Eric Tillman, Matt Dunnigan, and Rachel's new love interest on Friends, Chris Schultz. And the Ticats knew coming into this home and home they would have to stop Mitchell. But they thought it would be Darryl, not Vernon. The DB with 3 TDs last week, 4 touchdowns for the Argo defense. Bottom line for the Ticats, no Danny Mack, no attack, at least last week. And it looks like they'll have to do without him again. He is dressed, but not supposed to play. Is that a smart move?
Sure is. My experience tells me, James, that you have to sit Danny McManus. You can't afford to play him now and re-injure him and possibly miss him in the playoffs. You have to have him in the playoffs. This game is important, but it's not where the season begins. The season begins in another 4 weeks during the playoffs. How do you help Todd Bankhead out? You have to put him in good situations on second down. That means you have to be productive on 1st and 10 so that the young quarterback does not be forced into a situation where he has to move and make plays by himself. This team has to rally around him on 1st and 10.
Hey, you want to help Todd Bankhead? I want to get Todd Bankhead. I want to do the exact same thing I did Saturday afternoon. Put that extra man on the line of scrimmage. Put 2 of them up there. Pressure Todd Bankhead into mistakes. Until he completes a 40-yard fade or a 30-yard post, go after him. He has not proven that he can throw those deep passes. If he does, that takes that edge off the Argonaut defense, but it hasn't happened yet.
Well, Chris, assuming that Danny Mack doesn't play, the question becomes, how do you help a young quarterback? You do that with field position. And how do you get on the short field? Well, there are 2 ways. One is turnovers, and the other is with special teams. I believe the Hamilton Tiger Cats can win the battle on special teams. They go a long, long way toward helping that young quarterback, Todd Bankhead, be successful tonight.
Definitely when it comes to starting quarterbacks, Toronto has the edge in experience. Let's check them out. They're brought to you by Robin's Donuts, still rocking. After all these years, Kerwin Bell, longtime vet, did not have a good game at all last week. They won in spite of their offense. The Argos did. Todd Bankhead was not necessarily the better of the 2 Ticat QBs, but the worse one. But he gets the start in this game. The Argos 3-1 with Pinball Clemens standing on the sidelines can get his team right into the thick of the playoff race with a victory tonight. Kickoff coming up.
Kerwin Bell knows the Argo offense must be much better to win here tonight. Johnny Scott knows there's another rookie quarterback to welcome to the CFL.
Bankhead has to mature in a hurry. Every backup wishes he was playing. Be careful what you wish for. If the O struggles, Joe Montford has big enough shoulders to carry this team.
With 4 weeks to go, the Argos still have a shot at the playoffs. The Ticats can still finish first. For the loser tonight, those hopes diminish dramatically, and the odds get a little longer. It's a perfect October night at Ivor Winds, 16 degrees, with a light breeze from the southwest at 13 kilometers per hour.
Mike Clemens is 3-3 as a head coach, 3-1 as a head coach on the sideline. The Argos have won 2 of their last 3, and Pinball believes they can make the playoffs. They still have a chance.
In over 40 years in Canadian football, Ron Lancaster has never seen a game quite like last Saturday at Skydome when the Ticats handed the Argos 21 points in the first 15 minutes. No doubt it's going to be different tonight.
An interesting game a week ago. Ron Lancaster having to go with his backup quarterbacks, and they just flat out had a terrible outing.
Yeah, and he'll go with another backup tonight, as Glenn mentioned. Ready to get underway. Final meeting between the Ticats and the Argonauts in 2000. Short kick coming down to Tyrone Brown, and he is wrestled out by Hitchcock. Kerwin Bell knows the Argo offense has to be much more productive to win this one tonight. The key, obviously, Daryl Mitchell, Andre Kerwin, and Andrew English will start outside. Michael Jenkins at running back. Up front, the Argonauts offensive line has to give Kerwin Bell a little more time. The starting lineups brought to you by Midas, your auto service experts. Argonauts begin just shy of the 35. Bell back in a hurry, and he comes to the near side for Brown. That'll be enough for a first down.
Well, the front four for the Hamilton defense, led up front, of course, by Dr. Sack, Joe Mumford, 17 on the season. Completely dominating in that category in the Canadian Football League. And there is your secondary. Rob Hitchcock is the safety, couple interceptions. Nicholas Harper leads the team as a rookie with 4 picks on the corner.
Brown's gain is 13, a much better start for the Argonauts. Bell got it away in a hurry, and he'll get most of the first down yardage necessary. Daryl Mitchell made the catch.
Daryl Mitchell just 22 yards receiving last week versus Hamilton. Just not enough if the Argos want a chance to win the football game. And one of the reasons for that is that he is constantly double-teamed by this Hamilton defense. The reason Hamilton can do that is because they get pressure with just 4 up front. We'll watch if they can continue to do that here tonight. Daryl Mitchell will be trying to fight through double coverage.
Game of 7. This will be 2nd and 3. Tony Burse. And Burse ran into Sean Woodson. We'll see how close he did get to the first down. I think he's a little shy.
Yeah, he's going to be shy, I believe, because good surge up front and a big tackle by Sean Woodson. Moves over to that strong side linebacker. About halfway through the season. Mike Clemens would like to get a measurement just to buy himself some time.
I think he's within a yard.
He'll have to make a decision early in this game as to whether or not to gamble. It's about a full yard. Take a look at it there.
You'll go tight in and go L30. Jumbo and Belly. Jumbo and Ice.
Is he a gambling man?
They're talking about Jumbo. Jumbo meaning the big guys. Young Yul Kim comes into the football game. One of the receivers will go out. They'll also bring in the backup tailback, James Jenkins, in the Jumbo set. Try and get up on the line in a hurry.
The Argos go gunning on 3rd and 1. And that should be enough. Tony Burse will have the first down. Needed a little extra effort to get across and into Ticat territory.
Yeah, he really did. He had to fall off that pile to get the extra 1.5 yards to get that first down. But a calculated gamble by Mike Clements early in this game to do it in Hamilton's end of the field takes a little bit of the worry away from that kind of gamble as you see Burse slip off the pile.
Still a critical play behind an offensive line that has struggled on first down. Michael Jenkins, and that was read well by the Ticat defense. And Philbrick, number 77, leading the Hamilton tacklers there. He's had a great year.
He really has. Likely be their nominee for Outstanding Canadian this year, Mike Philbrick. 3 sacks coming into this game, but is a dominant presence in the middle of that defensive line. A line that all year long has been able to get pressure with just 4. Philbrick, Mark Word, Joe Mumford, and Jeff Cummins up front.
Philbrick held the Argonaut gain to a yard. 2nd and 9. 3 receivers far side. Here comes the heat. Bell unloads, picked off, and then dropped. He had it and dropped it. Nicholas Harper. That should have been interception number 5 for Harper.
Kerwin Bell is looking for the receivers outside of Daryl Mitchell to step up their game. Tyrone Brown is the intended receiver. Mitchell had to fight through a bump and then was covered by a couple of guys. He got the one-on-one and it looked like Tyrone Brown stopped his pattern. Nicholas Harper had the best chance at it. Really should have caught that football.
The Argos do move the ball with a couple of first downs and will force the Tiger Cats to begin deep in Hamilton territory if they cover this third down punt well. Not a big one for Prefontaine. And a little difficulty down at the 5-yard line for Archie Amerson, who has struggled a little bit on returns lately. So the Ticats take over offensively. Todd Bankhead will get his first CFL start here tonight. He is number 5, and Bankhead had a few moments to shine last week. Grant, Flutie, Morielli, Gregg are good targets for the rookie quarterback. Archie Amerson and Ronald Williams are the keys coming out of the backfield. Up front, the offensive line must be a little bit better than last week.
See the size of Gary Brown's
onion? He barely fits inside the picture frame.
That's the biggest onion I've ever seen.
Bankhead is 0 for 1.
Well, you know, when you look at what Billy Dickin and Todd Bankhead did last week, you know the Toronto Argonauts defensively are licking their chops. Calvin Tiggle anchors the middle. Roger Dunbrack, 6 sacks on the season up front. In the secondary, Vernon Mitchell was the most potent offensive weapon the Toronto Argonauts had last week. In fact, he scored more than both offenses combined.
2nd and 10 for Bankhead, starting at the 5. And Williams has about 4 yards, but the Ticats will kick in a hurry. Tough place for a rookie quarterback to have to begin down near the 5-yard line. And these guys were not enjoying each other's company prior to the game.
Well, there was a lot of trash talking going on down on the sideline, primarily between Johnny Scott and Carl Coulter. So we'll watch that battle throughout this game tonight. But Todd Bankhead, you're right, does not want to start in the shadow of his own goalposts in that first series.
Paul Osbaldiston from his end zone. Tyrone Brown is the lone man deep for the Toronto Argonauts.
He may just decide to give up a safety. No, he is going to kick it.
And the Argonauts will get great field position. Brown has 5, 7 on the return. And the Argonauts are in great shape for their second possession at Iverwind Nights.
Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN is brought to you in part by Adidas. By Molson Canadian, I am Canadian. And by 3M Filtrate air cleaning filters. Breathe the difference.
There's the guy who'll be looking for Kerwin Bell all night long.
17 sacks on the season. He also has 7 forced fumbles,
which is almost as important when you really think about it.
Well,
those are turnovers, or potentially turnovers.
More important, really, yeah, because you can put the ball on the ground, you can turn it over for your team, but that would be 24 sacks.
Argonauts had a couple of first downs in the opening drive. Here's Mitchell, almost open, couldn't hang on at the goal line. Had his hands on it and ran into Nicholas Harper, who was standing right on the goal line.
And I'm not sure that Tyrone Brown, the wide receiver, didn't run the wrong pattern because they ended up together. Here's Darryl Mitchell one-on-one on Gerald Vaughn, and any time the Kerwin Bell sees the one-on-one matchup, he's going to Mitchell. But at the end of the play, if you look to the left of your screen, you see Tyrone Brown. Nicholas Harper, covering Brown, had the opportunity to get involved in that play because they were both ended up in the same area, which is not what offenses want.
2nd and 10 for the Argos. Set up just outside the Hamilton 35. Bell has time, and he has a target. This will be a first down, Toronto. As Jenkins made the catch and was rolled out of bounds, flags fly after that.
He's going to get a late hit. Michael O'Shea hit Jenkins on the sideline after about 2 steps. The flags went up immediately, so there'll be some yardage tacked on to this gain by Michael Jenkins.
Yeah, and the gain was nice,
Major
21
foul,
yards.
Unnecessary roughness. Hamilton, number 59, first down.
Tony Burse is going to go wherever Joe Mumford goes in this Argo offense, and he's the guy who's got to step to Mumford's side. Joe Mumford is the guy they're really concerned with in any one-on-one, and there's Tony Burse working on him with the help out there of Jerry Kraft. You'll see Mumford double-teamed all night tonight, and the play was successful. They get 2 guys on him.
Argonauts inside the 10.
They're coming.
Almost fired it through for Tyrone Brown, and Nicholas Harper got a hand on it at the last possible second.
Pull-out blitz from the Hamilton defense. They came from the safety position with Rob Hitchcock. When Rob Hitchcock comes in here into the middle, you see Hitchcock right there. He goes A-gap. Kerwin Bell knows he's got to get rid of it in a hurry. And Nicholas Harper provides the coverage on Tyrone Brown. Thought he should have had a penalty. Might have had an argument because that right hand was on Tyrone Brown's back.
2nd and goal. The Argonauts are at the Tiger Cat 9. He's on. There's the toss and the catch. Jenkins has it. O'Shea hammered him out again. And the Argonauts come up short here.
They're just going to dump the ball off, and Michael O'Shea is in charge of covering Jenkins out of the backfield. And what Bell is hoping is that Jenkins can make O'Shea miss and get in on his own. That's one of the best tacklers in the CFL, though.
So this is 3rd down, and there's a gambling guy. Mike Clemens is going for 6 here. He needs 3 yards for the touchdown. Batted down. It's Harper again. Brown was the target, and Harper was with him stride for stride. So the gamble does not pay off. And I guess we can't second guess at this point.
Well, you always, I think, as a rule, when you get down in scoring range, you want to come away with points. And 3rd down and a long way to the end zone, a field goal. But the way this offense is played of late, you can give it some instant momentum if you can get in there. And I believe Tyrone Brown caught that football, John.
Well, I missed it completely, Glenn, and I have to apologize for that. There was no celebration by Brown that I saw.
Well, that's what it looked like, and I don't know that
I thought it was batted away by Harper. I didn't see a signal from the officials. I'd love to see a replay. I missed it completely. The Argos do get the touchdown. It's 7-0 Toronto. Tyrone Brown is his first touchdown reception of the year, and the Argos have a 7-0 advantage on the Tiger Cats.
He caught it in traffic to the right of your screen, just going to run that slant pattern right in here. And he hangs on to this football, even though Nicholas Harper was all over him, very nonchalantly dropped it to the ground right after that. Here's another angle of it. Quick slant inside of Nicholas Harper, and does hang on to that crowd.
It's obvious from that angle. I didn't see it the first time.
Well, he's pretty nonchalant about it.
I thought he was, too.
When it comes to the celebration, he kind of just drops it and says, yeah, I've been here before, and I'll head back to the sideline now.
Yeah, it was his first touchdown catch of the year.
Well, that was an interesting gamble by Mike Clemens early in this game. But it will give his offense some credit and some confidence.
And the Argonauts have really moved the football quite effectively so far. A couple of first downs in the first sequence. And 4 first downs so far, plus the touchdown. Jeff Johnson returning for the Tiger Cats, and he's out across the 25. Let's bring in Sunil Joshi.
Gentlemen, contrasting styles when it comes to preparing for a game. Pinball Clemens last week challenged his offense specifically to step it up and play better. Meanwhile, Ron Lancaster chose to tell Todd Bankhead early in the week he was starting so that he could get ready. So far, the Argonaut offense has indeed responded. Now the question is, there's a lot of football still to be played. Gentlemen?
Well, the gambling guy made it pay off there. It worked for him against the Blue Bombers in Winnipeg in a game. Pinball gambled and got the touchdown, and that started the Argos on a little bit of a victory spurt. Ronald Williams stopped short, and the Ticats really need to establish something in a run game here tonight.
Well, here's a few things that I think people should be looking at here in this game tonight. First of all, for the Argos, they got to throw it to Mitchell. That would be Darrell. For Hamilton, they don't want to throw it to Mitchell.
That's key number 2.
That would be Vernon. That's the defensive back. 2 interceptions, 3 touchdowns last week. Playoff pressure. The Argos have a chance to make it. Hamilton has a chance for first.
That's what's on the line tonight. This is the 4th last game from the end of the season. And Bankhead is behind Flutie, so it's 2-0 for the Tiger Cats again. Seeing his first action, he was around in training camp, but in reality, his first action as a starter, he got to play a little bit in week 12, but not a whole bunch. And then last week.
Yeah, and then last week after Billy Dickens started the game, but between Dickens and Todd Bankhead, you'd think they were working for Pillsbury. They had that many turnovers. But they can't turn the football over, and he hasn't done that yet. He's been backed up in his own end and hasn't given up that interception. And that's what the coaching staff in Hamilton has been telling him all week. You don't necessarily have to win it. Just don't lose it like we did last week.
And that's what Tiger Cat quarterbacks did last week. They put the offense or the defense behind the 8 ball, and they'll re-kick that with a penalty marker down.
Ron Lancaster had the interesting quote, said if your defense plays great, you don't give up a touchdown, you really should at the very worst tie the football game. Well, he said we blew that theory all out of the water last week.
And he believed that for 35 or 40 years in the CFL. And in reality, if you don't give up any points on defense,
the worst you should do is tie.
You should tie.
Well, not so if your quarterback throws 3 interceptions for touchdowns, and that's what happened a week ago.
And then there was the fumble that went for another one.
That's right.
Come away with great field position. Brown took it on the run, and there's a flag down, so that's no yards against the Tiger Cats. And a few more to Kerwin Bell's setup for the Argos' 3rd possession.
The virtual first down line is brought to you by Molson Canadian. I am Canadian.
Iverwin Stadium in Hamilton, the Argonauts are on a nice little roll. They have a touchdown early in the opening quarter, and they have the football inside the Ticat 40-yard line again at the 39 after a no-yards penalty on the last punt return by the Argos.
Wow, they're playing in the Hamilton end of the field this entire first quarter.
Kerwin Bell looking deep for Brown. He has the touchdown and couldn't come up with that one.
They're really going after Nicholas Harper. Tell you something, this is how this first quarter has gone. The Argos have started with the football on average on Hamilton's 51-yard line. Hamilton, on the other hand, have started on average on their own 16. Big difference if you can play in one end of the field, and that's one of the reasons that Mike Clemens would gamble on that last series. Take advantage of this field position that the Argos have had in this first quarter.
On a 3rd down gamble, Mike Clemens went for it and got the touchdown. This is 2nd and 10. Bell hasn't had much heat yet. Mitchell, or rather Jenkins, makes the catch. And that'll be enough for a first down.
Good yak yards. Yards after the catch.
Yeah, because he was short after making the catch and had to go for the first down.
Well, his best game of the season so far this year was week 1 versus Saskatchewan, where he had over 140 yards rushing. Michael Jenkins has sort of been off and on this year, kind of platooning with Ryan Terry. Ryan Terry's out of the lineup, so Jenkins will carry the mail the entire time tonight.
And there's nowhere to go this time. Jenkins is fired right back. Michael Jenkins averaging 5.3 yards a carry. He's small and he's powerful.
You know, John, when you look at this defensive line for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, they can really gamble on the run and pinch. And the reason they can is because Kerwin Bell is not going to run with the football. You see how Mumford gambles down inside and gets involved in that tackle. The defensive line can gamble on the run. Difficult to run the ball against him when your quarterback isn't very mobile. So you're going to see Mumford shoot that gap a bunch along with Mark Word, and when Gonzalo Floyd's in, he will do it as well. It'll be tough yards for Michael Jenkins tonight.
2nd and 9, big play for the Ticat defense, and it holds. Andre Kerwin was the intended target of Kerwin Bell that time.
See, Chris Schelling never really is threatened by Andre Kerwin deep. See, he's looking in at the quarterback. He stays in his back pedal. If you don't turn the defensive back's hips from a receiver's point of view, you're never going to get open on a curl pattern. You got to make it look like you're going deep, make that defensive back turn and panic, and then turn around. Andre Kerwin wasn't able to do that on Chris Schelling.
Jacob Marini has hit on 64.7% of his field goals. He should make this one from about the 30. It's blocked. Raposo has it going into the end zone. But it's a block punt, and there's a flag everywhere down there near the goal line.
It has been an interesting year in the kicking game.
The kicking game has been an adventure all season long.
Especially for the Toronto Argonauts.
Toronto, number 41, first down.
Once that kick crosses the line of scrimmage, you obviously have to give 5 yards to the return team, which would have been Hamilton, and Raposo didn't do that. But it has been an adventure for the Argos in the kicking game this year, both on the punt formation and in field goal formation. The block, I thought, came from the left side of that Hamilton line where they were all stacked up. Looked like Gerald Vaughn got up there.
Gerald Vaughn has 3 blocked punts coming into this game tonight. And Marini misses there. So the Ticats take over near the 20. Bankhead hasn't completed anything yet.
Well, he's got to get some help, though, John. I mean, especially with the inexperience of a guy like Todd Bankhead. Here's a guy who's got to get some help from his offensive line and Ron Williams blocking, because that time off the edge, Fred Perry was clean. He's the guy, I believe, knocked that football down. If he doesn't get any help and the Argos get pressure, especially pressure with just 4 up front, it's going to be a long, long night for a young quarterback.
Now this Tiger Cat offensive line is used to Danny McManus behind. He's got the quickest release in the Canadian Football League, and no one can expect Bankhead to be getting rid of the ball as quickly as Danny Mac.
So yeah, they just didn't hold up for even a split second up front. It was like a fast break on that last play for the Argo defensive line.
Roger Dunbrack just walked in.
And it wasn't anything real fancy either.
Holding Hamilton, number 68. That penalty's declined. Third
Again,
down.
off the edge, it's Fred Perry who comes off in a hurry. He's working on Dave Hack, who got the holding call. He's coming off the top edge here. Fred Perry is going to get instant pressure. Leroy Blue down at the bottom of your screen. Look at Perry, 93. He works on Chris Burns, blows by him. That makes Bankhead step up. And Hack got the holding call.
So again, Osbaldiston kicking out of his end zone. Again, the Argonauts will have excellent field position.
See Hamilton counting who they're going to block and pointing out who they're going to block.
Pretty good kick by Ozzie. Out near midfield. Tyrone Brown looks for room to the far side. Has about 9, maybe 11 on the return. And again, the Argos start deep inside Ticat territory. It's Adidas Friday Night Football from Hamilton. Kerwin Bell just missed Tyrone Brown on the far side.
Kerwin Bell really felt with the additions of Tyrone Brown to the outside, Eddie Brown in the lineup that will likely play a little at the wide receiver position tonight. He really has increased the speed in his receiving corps. Whether or not they can take advantage of it remains to be seen.
Andrew English flanks to the near side with 2 others for the Argonauts. On 2nd and 10, Bell goes deep to Brown, and he missed him. Had him in behind the cover. Brown snuck in beside everyone over there.
He did, because Hamilton started to play a zone defense, but because Tyrone Brown came from all the way across the field, these guys over here playing the zone didn't recognize him. I'm talking about Chris Schilling over there. See, he comes from all the way across the field, and Chris Schilling doesn't see him coming from that side. He's looking at his side of the field. He kind of gets locked in, little tunnel vision. Tyrone Brown was in behind him, but Bell just missed him.
So Marini missed moments ago from near the 30. Now he's up at the 49. Previous was blocked. This one has the distance, and he's on the money. So the Argonauts increased the lead to 10. A bit of a surprise in a lot of ways when you looked at how inefficient the Argonaut offense was a week ago.
Well, they should be coming away with points considering where they've started with the football. Because of good field position, they should have 10 points. They really should have 14.
But the first field position they created for themselves when they got a couple of first downs.
That's right.
And
they maintained it.
Yeah, and they maintained
it since. That's a low kick from Jacob Marini. Watch for Hamilton to try and get a couple guys up in the air like Gerald Vaughn. Field goals throughout this game.
So Mike Clemens has his Argonauts on top by 10. Ticats in a deep hole, and it's only the first quarter. A deep hole because the offense has not moved the ball or produced a first down. Here's a turnover. And the Argonauts have it again. Ronald Williams lost the ball. And the Argonauts get it right back.
Well, and you know, it's tough for Ron Lancaster because he knows he has an inexperienced quarterback in Todd Bankhead, so he has to rely heavy on his veterans, and one of the veterans is Ron Williams. They really need a running game to take pressure off Bankhead, and if Ron Williams, the veteran, coughs up the football, it's got to be frustrating for the head coach.
The Hamilton offense has really struggled. 10 first downs October 7th against Toronto.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah,
two and a half a quarter is not going to get it done. 3 picks versus Montreal the week before.
Yikes. Fred Perry popped it out. And the Argonauts are set up inside the 45 of the Ticats again. This is Jenkins trying the outside, cuts it back in over a Hamilton defender as he ran right across.
Jude St. John made a tremendous block on that running play.
He ran across Sean Woodson and bounced for a first down.
Well, Jude St. John is the key. He's going to come out here and kick out on Joe Mumford. And when he does, he rides Mumford for a while. Look at this block. Maintains it to the left of your screen. Now pushes him out. Jenkins cuts right off that block and goes down into open field.
Another Argonaut first down. Another completion. Nope, Mitchell couldn't hang on far side. Mitchell went sliding across the turf and couldn't sell it.
Well, what must be encouraging, though, for Daryl Mitchell is he's seen a lot of one-on-ones tonight already in this first quarter, in this first half, because last week he was running against 2 guys all game long. And you know, with one-on-one coverage on Mr. Mitchell, he's going to get open before the night's over. That's not a bad year.
So Kerwin Bell's hot hand has turned a little cool. He's missed on his last 4 passes. 2nd and 10. Bell stands in. He's got his man. Forced out on the far side. Eddie Brown has his first catch of the game.
Eddie Brown back in the lineup, and we talked about him being back in the lineup, providing some more speed, and it was speed that gets him open on this play. All speed across the middle of the field. He just runs away from Sean Woodson, who's in charge of covering him, because the Ticats were doubling Mitchell on the other side. So he gets the one-on-one on a linebacker, and boy, that'll be a matchup that Kerwin Bell goes back to. Eddie Brown with his great speed against the linebacker and Sean Woodson.
Yeah, and it's another deep threat for Kerwin Bell to go with Mitchell. So Brown has 26 yards. The Argonauts are set up at the 5-yard line. First and goal to go from there. Argos lead at 10-0. For the second man through, a reverse here. Looking to cut to the outside. Mitchell gets inside the 5, but they strung him out all the way. Mitchell got a couple, and that's the end of the opening quarter. The Argonauts have the lead. An early touchdown followed by a field goal. It's 10-0 Toronto.
Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN at the quarter. Brought to you by New Arctic Ice, the invigorating new fragrance of the Gillette series. It's beyond refreshing.
Well, even in a full body cast, you figure Danny McManus might be more effective than what we've seen so far, although Todd Bankhead didn't get much help. And in a lot of ways, this makes sense. 2 inept offenses last week. Who would make the better adjustments? Well, the veteran quarterback. And Kerwin Bell has done just that. The Argos looking very impressive on both sides.
And rookie head coach Mike Pinball Clemens saying to his offense, hey, I'm with you. 3rd and 6 gamble pays off. Set the tone early. I think this is very important for this football team, saying, I got confidence in you. We're going to play this, Chris, like we're going to win it, and we're going to go and be aggressive and take it to the Hamilton Tiger Cats. No second guessing there.
That took guts. I would have gone for the field goal. That did take guts. And Ron Lancaster, I thought, was the opposite. The first series the Hamilton Tiger Cats had, well, it was 2nd and 10, and what did he do? He ran Ronald Williams right up the middle. That tells me that Ron Lancaster refuses to lose this game based on mistakes. That's kind of a conservative approach, but still, with the points scored, it's tough to come from behind. There's always that little sense of panic. That's an advantage to Toronto.
Yeah, it is. Chris, this past week, Mike McCarthy quietly lobbied behind the scenes to bring in another quarterback to Hamilton. Ron Lancaster vetoed those desires. I'll tell you, McCarthy's concerns are looking more and more legitimate with every quarter that passes. This team is really struggling, and a loss tonight almost certainly puts the Tiger Cats in 2nd place. I think we're going to see Danny McManus. Ron Lancaster's a competitor. His team is digging a deep hole. I think we see Danny Mac.
Definitely will be a temptation with him dressed on the sidelines for this game. And, you know, we talked about Toronto moving within a point of Winnipeg. They could also tie with 3rd with BC in the West and the potential of a crossover for the Argos to the West. Who'd have thunk that 2 months ago?
Our location at Ivor Wynn in Hamilton, always a great spot to watch a football game. We watched Danny McManus in the pregame warm-ups, Glenn, and he was really throwing the ball fairly effectively. The gamble for Lancaster, though, is if he gets him hurt again tonight.
Well, you have to be very careful with that. It'd be tempting right now for Ron Lancaster to throw him into this football game, but if he gets hurt and he makes that injury that much worse, what does that say down the stretch? It's a hamstring. You have to be very careful with a hamstring.
Yeah, and you have to agree with Eric. First place is going to be tough for the Tiger Cats to capture with the Montreal Alouettes looking at the schedule and having a 2-point advantage right now. So if the Tiger Cats don't win tonight, it could be a 4-point advantage by the time the weekend's over.
But without him right now, Toronto's net yards offensively 107 in the first quarter. Hamilton has 1 yard.
And here the Argonauts looking for another touchdown. That one is batted out of the air and then caught right at the 1-yard line by an Argonaut. And a pile of people down there. Well, looks like Jenkins came up with it.
Gerald Vaughn was in there, along with Rob Hitchcock.
It'll be 3rd down.
Well, and it looked like Daryl Mitchell was also in there. And if it's a simultaneous catch, it goes to the offense. And they're giving him the catch. They're giving Daryl Mitchell the catch here.
Well, yeah, they've said 3rd down. You can see that from the official. This is a jump ball is what it is.
Well, it ends up because it's deflected at the line of scrimmage by Jeff Cummins, and then there's the simultaneous. Well, actually, Mitchell had it first.
Cleanly, yeah. So here go the Argonauts. They've gambled and gotten the touchdown already. This from the 1-yard line. 3rd and goal to go from there. No way! Is hammered. Oh!
You know, that became personal for the Hamilton defense. I guarantee you that.
Willie Fells came up from his middle linebacking spot, and that's the first thing the Tiger Cat fans have had to cheer about tonight.
When Mike Clemens gambled in the first quarter 6 yards out of the end zone and was successful, it became personal to that Hamilton Tiger Cat defense. And watch the job that they do, filling the hole and stuffing it in the backfield. Willie Fells is right there, and Michael Jenkins has no place to go. Rob Hitchcock helps out along with O'Shea, but a huge hit right at the line of scrimmage. And that's what happens when you make it personal.
Fells comes over the top, and there was absolutely nowhere to go. But the Ticats' problems are not over. They've got a rookie quarterback actually standing in his end zone.
That might fire him up, though, at least up front.
Bankhead, intercepted, touchdown. Can you believe that? Calvin Tiggle, the ex-Ticat, has never had an easier touchdown run since he was 9 years old and playing in the Sandlot.
Well, and it's going to take a huge amount of wind out of the sails for that Hamilton defense as well. After a great goal line stand on a 3rd down gamble, their quarterback offensively hands Calvin Tiggle an early Christmas gift. Now, in fairness to Todd Bankhead, again, he's not getting much help because he is hit as he throws this football. Little play action really wasn't fooling anybody. He's hit slightly in there as he throws the ball.
That was a wobbler.
No one from that Hamilton receiving corps anywhere near Calvin Tiggle.
So the Argonauts have the first 16 points again tonight. John scored the first 21 last week.
I was going to say, in the last 5 quarters, 5 and a bit, the Argos have scored 5 times defensively against this football team, the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Well, and we'll re-kick this field goal as markers go down. This is going to be a war here tonight before this is over. The encouraging news for the Argonauts tonight, though, is that they have moved the ball offensively.
Yeah,
they have put 10 points on the board with the offense.
You have to give credit to Mike Clemens and Kerwin Bell, who spent long hours the last 3 weeks retooling the entire offense.
Offside, Hamilton, number 4, penalty to be applied in the kickoff.
Remember, Mike Clemens has really been the coach and sort of been half coach, half player for 6 games. Since taking over, he's completely retooled the offense with the help of Kerwin Bell. So basically, they're sort of 3 weeks out of training camp, if you look at it, like most teams start the year. So you have to give credit, because they have looked better on offense than they did a week ago, no question. But it's been some long hours for the new coach.
So Marini gets to try to convert one more time. Penalty will be applied on the kickoff. The latest Ticat quarterback hammered to the turf in the Hamilton end zone. There's Todd Bankhead.
Another look at this touchdown by Calvin Tiggle. As Bankhead's going to be hit when he throws the football by Glenn Young. Now watch after he throws this one, the interception by Tiggle. He's going to catch it right here. Now look at this. Right when he catches the football, I want to show you. Look at that. No receivers for the Hamilton Tiger Cats anywhere to be seen in the former Ticat middle linebacker. Pretty happy right now. Remember, he played in Hamilton last year.
He did. And he was the most outstanding defensive player in the league. In Ticat black and gold last year. Signed as a free agent with the Argonauts.
Known more as a tackler than an interceptor. That was a big one.
6th in the league in tackles this year, Calvin Tiggle. Archie Amerson across the 20. Ticats need a little help on special teams. They're down 17-0. And it's a frustrating couple of weeks for Ron Lancaster, who had Danny McManus, and Cody Ledbetter.
Well, Ledbetter's got the bad leg. He broke his leg. He's down on the sideline. He's taking the call. McManus with the hamstring.
And this is what happened to Danny McManus 2 weeks ago against the Alouettes.
Everyone thought it was at the end of the play, but it was actually after about right there.
3rd step, Lancaster told us yesterday.
Now
That's when he pulled the ham.
He has the bad ham right now. He kept going, kind of caught his foot, but it was early in that run, like you mentioned. We haven't seen him since.
Enter Todd Bankhead and Ronald Williams.
But you have to be.
Can't find any room at all. Sorry.
But you have to be so careful with the hamstring injury, and you know, for the Ticats, they basically have a home field playoff game. You know, and a hamstring, it doesn't take much to re-injure it. They were trying to stretch it out after he did that versus Montreal. Got to be very careful with them. They need him more in November than they do right now.
2nd and long. Bankhead missed again. That time the target was Archie Amerson.
Well,
so he hasn't made a connection tonight.
The only good news for Hamilton and their fans here at home is that they're going to have better field position. In fact, they're going to have the best field position they've had all game long.
Ticats haven't managed the first down either, but I guess that stands to reason when they haven't managed the completion.
I'll tell you, I'd be very surprised to see Danny McManus in this game, though. Now, Billy Dickin may come in and get another shot at it.
Ozzie sails this one. It's over Brown's head, and it rolls out inside the 20. Somewhere around the 12-yard line. So, Ozzie nails one, but the Argonauts have the lead. Welcome back to Ivor Wynn. Let's bring in Sunil Joshi again.
Gentlemen, I'm with George Grant, the co-owner of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, also the chairman of the Vanier Cup Committee. I know you're not having a lot of fun tonight, but let's talk about a labor of love, and that is the Vanier Cup. Anything special planned for this year?
Well, actually, Sunil, we've got some very major things that we're doing this year over and above what's been done before. I think the first difference is this is the 2nd of December, 4 p.m. at Skydome, the 36th Vanier. So we have a 2-week period between when the regular season is over and this game happens. So there is an opportunity here for a lot more attendance at the game, and that's what we're shooting for. We have a child's ticket this year for $6, youth 25% off. So you can take a family of 4 to the Vanier very inexpensively. You'll have a great show, terrific entertainment. I think it's going to be a fun event that Toronto area people should try and get out to.
You'll notice he's wearing an Acadia hat. That's because his son, Will, plays for Acadia. He's also a quarterback and a defensive back, so you're obviously hoping your son plays in the game you're chairman for.
That would be terrific. Will is now a defensive back at Acadia. I think my fondest wish would be to see Acadia in the Vanier this year, and if I could be just a little bit of a homer, win it. That'd be 2 in a row for Will and me, and that'd be great.
And you know what? He wants to see more points from the Ticats first, more than anything else. Let's go upstairs.
Hey, can Dad be on the committee? Is that all right?
I think it's okay. The kid's got to get there first.
Yeah, that's right.
This is 2nd and 5. Bell.
Watch out!
English, and he got hammered. Andrew English going across the middle, stuck with the pass, and took a hit. He went after the ball.
He got rocked.
He did.
And it was Rob Hitchcock delivering the blow. One of the hardest hitting safeties, number 42 to the left of your screen, in the Canadian Football League, and he is absolutely annihilating Andrew English, who jumps right back up.
Rob Hitchcock, the All-Canadian safety in 1999. Good set of plays for the Ticat defense, because this kick into the breeze is knocked deep by Prefontaine. Hamilton will get great field position. Carter didn't even have to return it very far, which he didn't. And speaking of the Vanier Cup, December 2nd at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Live from Skydome, and we'll have it for you on TSN, as usual, the Vanier Cup.
Well, Rob Hitchcock, after that big hit, was not a participant in the Vanier Cup. He went to Weber State University, but he is a Canadian.
So Corey Grant with no return.
We're up in Hamilton.
Even sets it up for the Tiger Cats. Best position of the night for Hamilton inside the 50 of the Argonauts. Bankhead back to throw. He has time, and he has Flutie. First completion, and it should be a first down for the Tiger Cats. Something to hang your hat on, Todd Bankhead.
The difference is, for the most part, is Todd Bankhead got time to throw the football. And when you have this much time and allow Flutie to come all the way across the field, you're going to be able to complete it. Watch Flutie work right here on Capers. Capers is going to drop him off, try to hope that his safety, Marcelo Simmons, picks him up. He can't get there in time, but Bankhead had all day to throw that time.
First down for the Tiger Cats. Bankhead puts it up again. Amerson was the target, and Capers was covering. He just snuck a hand in there. Byron Capers.
You know, defensive backs against young quarterbacks get that much more excited to play a game. Obviously with the inexperience, but you don't have to worry about the fakes. You don't have to worry about the pump fakes from an inexperienced quarterback. You know, and Capers knows, that Todd Bankhead, all he wants to do now is complete a pass. So he'll be as simplistic as possible. Capers can jump some of those patterns, and the rest of the DBs along with him.
2nd and 10. And that one was batted down. Fred Perry got a hand on it. So Bankhead did get 1 first down and 1 completion for 11 yards.
Well, Paul Osvaldsson will come in to try a long field goal, well within his range, as long as there's 57 on the year. This will be about from 43. He has so far the biggest game of the, or the biggest play of the game for the Ticats. That was his long punt.
Yeah, 62 yards to get field position back. Ozzie is number 2 in the CFL in field goal efficiency at 84%. This is within range. Flutie puts it down. Ozzie hammers it wide. So Bankhead heads back up for the Tiger Cats, trailing 17-1. We're back at Ivor Wynn and looking for a full weekend of football on TSN. Calgary-Edmonton comes your way on CFL Live Sunday afternoon, 5 o'clock Eastern Time. And then Sunday nights, we go to the National Football League and those Minnesota Vikings, unbeaten 5-0. Well, Chicago.
And our resident expert, Chris Schultz, for the risky business picks, is taking Minnesota. They're favored by 6 in that way game. But when is that bubble going to burst for the Vikings?
Tiger Cats here are in trouble, but they're not stuffed yet. Argonauts first down. Kerwin Bell getting the heat for the first time. He escapes and is short of the first down with a completion to Daryl Mitchell, short by about a half a yard.
Well, this is the matchup that they've left Daryl Mitchell in the one-on-one with Chris Schelling. He's played pretty well all night long, has Schelling, but by the time Kerwin Bell had bought some extra time with his legs, got to the outside, Mitchell finally sprung open. He's going to get open in one-on-ones. I don't care who's covering him.
Mitchell, third catch for 18 yards. Argos looking at 2nd and 2, and they won't get it. O'Shea was there, and so was Willie Fells.
Well, again, they're very close. And I haven't seen any sign of the punt team from the Gambler. Got to know when to hold him and know when to fold him.
Well, he gambled and won.
Once. Gambled and lost the second time, but won anyway because they threw an interception.
Gambled and won, got the 6 points.
This time, he's going to fold him.
Yeah, he's got a kick here. Ball is on the Argonauts side of the field. It would be a little foolhardy here.
Well, plus he just saw his running game stopped on that last gamble down on the goal line by Willie Fells on a big hit on Michael Jenkins. So that'll put a little doubt in your mind. And then
yeah, and Fells was in on this one along with O'Shea too. So it stuffed up the middle on the Argonauts a couple of times. Oh, Fontaine barely got it away. Kicker is down. No flag, however. Archie Anderson tries to turn the corner here and ran out of real estate.
Well, Prefontaine
still wants a penalty, but there was no flag back in his area at all.
Well, see, someone hit Prefontaine. I wasn't sure what the number was, but he was blocked into him. I'm sure of that. So that's why the officials did not call roughing the kicker. Although Prefontaine really wanted to call.
Watch this again and see how close it was.
There's the kick, and see the block right there. Jarrett Smith gets blocked into him.
Yep.
That's good, no call.
Ticats trailing 17-1. Ryan Williams broke free on the first down.
The importance of Ron Williams in this offense, even with Danny McManus in the lineup, Ron Williams is the key. I mean, he pounds up in there for some big yardage. He's already fumbled once tonight, which was costly for the Ticats, but that doesn't matter. They got to go back to him, and they've got to get some yardage out of him. Quite frankly, when Ron Williams gets big yardage, this team wins. 8 wins, averages 105 yards per game rushing. In the 6 losses, it drops to 67 yards. Big, big difference. Ron Williams is important even with McManus. You put in an inexperienced quarterback, yeah, well, that importance multiplies.
Bankhead is the inexperienced quarterback here, and he needs a running game to take some of the heat off.
Exactly.
Little play action fake this time. Bankhead rolling far side, and he looked for Flutie almost.
A very difficult throw for Todd Bankhead. Rolling to his left and trying to throw it against his body. He throws it on a line. Play action this way, and he's going to roll this way with the football. Darren Flutie is the deep receiver looking up to catch it out in that area. It's a tough throw to make. How close is it?
Not bad.
Yeah, Flutie usually comes up with that one. A tough catch for Darren Flutie in the open, but he's made that one many times in his CFL career.
Bankhead did not miss by much.
Well, and it would have been the type of play to give this young quarterback a lot of confidence.
2nd and 10, Tiger Cats. There's a little heat on him that time. Andrew Gregg made the catch. And a good move, but he's still short of the first down.
Johnny Scott ended up right in Todd Bankhead's kitchen. I mean, he just drove the pocket back and made it very difficult for Bankhead to get that football over. And this is what he's been facing. Watch the push by Johnny Scott up the middle. He's just going to reestablish the line of scrimmage. Look at this, pounding that bull rush right back into the kitchen of Todd Bankhead. It's tough to make the recipe properly when you got Johnny Scott in your kitchen.
Ticats have decided they'll gamble themselves. This is 3rd down, a little better than a yard. Bankhead will put it out. That gamble was ill-advised with the play they called.
Well, with an inexperienced quarterback, I guess if you're Ron Lancaster, you feel that it will be something that the Argo defense would not expect for you to pass on a gambling situation like that. Todd Bankhead had Jeff Cummins wide open.
The legend is a little distressed.
Whoa. That's called the good old-fashioned tongue lashing. He had Jeff Cummins open, and Ron Lancaster just reminded Todd Bankhead of his job, and that's to deliver the football.
Argos first down, play action, Kerwin Bell looks to the far side, on the money. Bell has another completion. Andrew English breaks 2 tackles, and he's inside the 30.
Let's just go back to that gamble again. You know the Argo defense won't expect the young quarterback to throw the football, and he's going to get Cummins. He's the blocking tight end to the left side, is wide open. Now, there was pressure all over Bankhead, but look how open Jeff Cummins was. No Argo defender around. Now, he had to step up because of the pressure from the Argos, but when he got to the sideline, Ron Lancaster said, just throw the football like you're supposed to. You had to
deliver the ball is what he was saying. The Todd Bankhead has felt the wrath of the veteran CFL head coach. The Argos on first down. Jenkins for a couple.
Well, it's a huge momentum shift because then Andrew English comes up with a big catch and run after the catch, and all of a sudden the Argos are down in scoring position again. So
yeah, English picks up 31.
Right, one play, a poor throw by Todd Bankhead, and all of a sudden the Argos are down on the doorstep looking at more points. That's how quickly it can happen, and that's why Ron Lancaster was so upset.
Yeah, almost guaranteed 3 more from here without a miscue. But they're looking at 2nd and 5. To the corner. Catch made out of bounds. Brown adjusted to the ball in front of Nicholas Harper, but he was well out.
Well, they keep going after Nicholas Harper, and Harper keeps answering the bell. That's Kerwin's bell, because he has been in great coverage on Brown pretty much all night long, with the exception of the 1 touchdown on the slant, and Nicholas Harper was actually in pretty good coverage on that play as well.
Good position, and
he's played a pretty good game tonight.
Bell had to thread it through for Tyrone Brown. .354 till halftime. It is the Argonauts on top, 17-1. The Ticats' turmoil continues.
Well,
are they gambling on 3rd and 5?
I don't see the kicker out there.
I don't see him either.
Well, Kerwin Bell is going to take a second here. He was talking to Tyrone Brown as they walked to the huddle. And now the Argos are going to call a timeout. Yeah, and Kerwin Bell is really an offensive coordinator right now as well.
Yeah, well,
so
Kerwin has changed his mind.
He may have gone into the huddle there, talking to Tyrone Brown, and then rethought the whole decision to maybe gamble and come back and discuss it with the head coach, Mike Clements, and that's exactly what they're going to do, is send the field goal team back out there.
Well, this makes a little more sense at this stage of things.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That's a long 5, too. That's almost 6 yards.
And you know, it's almost disrespectful to that Hamilton defense. If you know what I mean.
I understand.
You keep gambling. That Hamilton defense takes it personally. They rise up and make some big plays against you, can change the game around. And the Argos have control of the game right now.
Jacob Marini will have it spotted at the 31. And he's got it.
That's a good decision. That's the offensive coordinator / quarterback, Kerwin Bell.
So it's a little happier on that side of the field as Kerwin Bell chats it over.
Well, this is interesting.
Ronnie is a little distressed.
It's interesting, though, because Ron Lancaster, we saw him just rip Todd Bankhead after the last gamble on 3rd down. Now, he sends him right back out in this series. He rips him, sits him on the bench, but he doesn't pull him. He's going to give him another shot.
Well, he doesn't have many chances, or at least many choices, what I'm trying to say. Bankhead has looked a little sharper lately. We're going to charge here. Got the completion, but there won't be much yardage picked up there.
Well,
Morreale made the catch.
Talk about more pressure on a young quarterback as you look at Billy Dicken, who is the other choice for Ron Lancaster.
Gain of a couple. It'll be 2nd and 7 when we return to Adidas Friday Night Football. We're back at Ivor Wynn in Hamilton. Lots to talk about at the half on Adidas Friday Night Football. The guys are ready, all fired up, and we're going to go about 3 minutes away. That's what's left in the opening half. Surprised at the Argos offense moving the ball as consistently as it has?
I'm really not. I'm a little surprised that the Hamilton offense hasn't been able to move it at all, though. I mean, you know that Bankhead will struggle, but I never thought it would be this much.
Ronnie Williams. Kind of hooked from underneath him, and that first down.
Kelvin
Tingle.
Yeah. You want to know how to play middle linebacker? You want to know how to stop the run from tackle to tackle? Go talk to number 73. Here, this is a clinic right in the hole. This is reading the play and coming up on that draw and plugging the hole. Look at this. Down low, head up, and down goes Ronnie Williams.
Williams was headed to a first down there without that tackle because he came up 3 yards, maybe 2.5 yards shy. And without Tingle underneath, he would have had the first down and been awfully close.
That's a heat-seeking missile right there.
That forces Ozzie back in. Tyrone and Eddie Brown. Back forth. This is Tyrone. Behind Eddie Brown for a split second. Now he's forced back.
Oh, he got some room now.
And he's got room to this side. Beats Hitchcock. Tyrone Brown down the sideline. Still standing. Still going as he crosses midfield.
He had to run 1,000 yards to get some room, but he finally got some back the other way.
39 yards he'll be credited with, and our stats guy Jeff Girodad will figure out how many yards he ran to get the 39.
Well, you know, his head coach was a master at doing the exact same thing on punt returns throughout his career, the pinball. But watch how much running Tyrone Brown has to do. Look at this. Catch it here. Reverse your field all the way to the backside away from the return. Break one tackle. Decide to come back the opposite way. And now you got the wall set up.
And now Jenkins on first down. Breaks free, and he'll have another Toronto first down.
You know, a lot of credit for this Argo start right here has got to go to Mike Clemens, and I'll tell you why. After their loss, in which they didn't generate very much offense a week ago, Clemens went in the paper and said, we have the talent to be much better offensively.
Use the home
the reason we weren't successful has got to go to the coaches, and the blame has got to be on the coaches' shoulders. They worked hard at it all week, and they look a lot better here tonight.
Yeah, he's got a minute 53 to go. Mike Clemens wants Kerwin Bell to use the whole clock. Somehow they got that exchange away, and it's good for maybe a half a yard. Mike Clemens is 3-1 as a head coach with the Argonauts when he's not got the helmet
like
on.
that, when he's dressed like that.
Now, overall, it's 3-3 because he had a helmet on and was a part-time coach for a couple of games. But I didn't think that he would be able to keep the Argonauts in playoff contention. However, if they win tonight, the Argos are very much alive in this race for the playoffs. Yeah, which is truly amazing to me.
And the thing that he's done probably more than anything is improve the offensive line.
Bell had to fire that one high, and English might have been able to bring it down, but he was well covered over there. And it was Harper covering.
Bell wanted Tyrone Brown to run the out and out, but they better decide to throw the football somewhere else because Nicholas Harper's having nothing of it on his side of the field. Tyrone Brown, I think, was supposed to run an out and up. It looked like that's what Kerwin Bell was yelling at him. But Nicholas Harper saying, I don't care what you run, you're not getting open on my area.
Harper was very close to knocking away the touchdown to Tyrone Brown that I never saw.
Yeah, that's right. Well, throw it into
I thought he had a finger on it.
Wow, he was that close.
Brown did not react like he'd scored a touchdown. Anyway, that was earlier. Marini will try a 45-yarder here, and that one is shanked or tipped. Prefontaine was in the end zone. Oh,
Prefontaine's attempted a couple of field goals this year. Yeah. He's over. He has not made one yet. Tremendous punter. Probably could play free safety.
Well, he's a sticker, Prefontaine, without question.
He's a great athlete. But he has not had a whole lot of success on field goals.
No.
You know, talking to Paulus Ballison before the game, they were standing together, the two kickers. Paulus Ballison right there and Noah Prefontaine. And, you know, I said, you know, what about this guy, Noah Prefontaine, and his tackles? He says, giving kickers a bad name. Because now they're looking at me saying,
number 39, after the play.
Why don't I tackle?
It's a single point.
You know, and
single point.
Ozzie says, you know, he runs a 40 in about the same time I run a 20. He's a great athlete. Other than those two main things, I could run the ball as well. He's giving kickers, he's making it tough on kickers because he's such a great athlete.
And he makes some tackles. At one point, he was second in special teams tackles for the Argos, and that was earlier in the season, and a bit of an embarrassment to the rest of the Argos.
Yeah, I say why not save a spot, play him at free safety, where he played in college, and have him kick as well.
Vaughn was penalized. Ticats get the ball. Argonauts get the point. It's 21-1. Bankhead is hammered as he got it away for Flutie. Houston made the tackle, number 25 for the Argos.
Talk about the pressure right now on Todd Bankhead. You know, think about pressure coming into this game just to win. Still chasing Montreal for first place in the East Division. And then you throw in the fact that your head coach is pretty upset with you, and you're probably playing for your career here in Hamilton the rest of this game. This is basically probably Todd Bankhead's audition for a spot the rest of the year in this lineup.
Yeah, it hasn't gone well so far, folks. Second down and 3. Bankhead missed Amerson there, and 51 seconds are left till three-quarter time. The Argos will get the ball back.
But I'll tell you what, he's got to get more help than he's getting up front. A little stunt. Glenn Young comes underneath. Good swim move by Tyrone Rogers, and he's right in Todd Bankhead's face. I mean, he's got to get some help from an offensive line that now 2 weeks in a row have struggled in Hamilton.
Well, it's been a tough week in a lot of ways for the Tiger Cats. On Tuesday, kicker Paul Osbaldiston was in an alleged confrontation with a member of the media, a reporter from the Hamilton Spectator, and they're still investigating that situation as it stands right now. Tiger Cats are standing behind their veteran kicker on the whole situation while that investigation continues, but it's put a heavy cloud over the Tiger Cats in other areas. The quarterbacking situation notwithstanding, the Tiger Cats say the circumstances were regrettable and the alleged incident being investigated. They will have no further comment on it at this particular point in time. But Ozzie seems to be okay as we talk to him. Not about that, but prior to the game, his usual kind of jovial self in a way.
Sure was. Didn't really want to talk about the incident, and
well, he said he
don't
couldn't
blame him. He really can't until the investigation is complete. It was basically, from what I hear, a pushing match in the locker room. Nothing really. But Ozzie wants the game to come down to a field goal, and he wants a chance to kick it. That's what he said before the game.
Anytime he steps onto the field, throwing Bell. Now they're looking at an intentional grounding here if he didn't get it across the line of scrimmage, but I think he did. Bell had nowhere to go, so he just basically fired it into the ground.
There's no infraction on the play. The ball crossed the line of
Must
scrimmage.
have just made it, John.
Well, all it has to do under the new rule introduced last year is cross the line of scrimmage.
That's right.
Which I think is overall not a bad rule.
No,
it's going to save quarterbacks.
It saves the quarterbacks, no question. I think it's a very good rule. As long as you throw it across the line, you can throw it into row 7 if you want. And there's a little bit of difference between the two passing games in the first half.
Argonauts have surpassed their output for the entire game last week. 135 yards total offense for Toronto last week offensively. Jenkins comes up short of the first down. A penalty flag is down to 50 with 29 seconds to go.
Well, it's going to go against the Argos for a holding call, I believe, at the point of attack, and then will force the Argos into a 2nd and long.
Holding Toronto, number 64. Repeat 2nd down.
That's Ron Meyer, the ex-Stampeder, who joined the Argonauts a couple of weeks ago.
Well, now with the field position that the Argos are forced back to, if the Ticat defense can hold, they may get the football back 1 first down or 2 first downs away from a field goal attempt before the end of the half. Those are a bunch of big ifs, the way the offense has been playing.
Yeah, the offense has not moved the ball at all. Special teams might be the best way for the Tiger Cats to get back. Tyrone Brown. And he ran right smack dab into Mike O'Shea. 22 seconds remaining till halftime.
Well, it's nice to see that the rivalry is alive and well between these two teams because after every play they're talking, the trash talking continues. It has been a violent game, especially in the trenches.
Now, the other story going on tonight is the Ballard Cup is on the line. This was a trophy introduced in 1996 to remember Harold Ballard, once an owner of the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and it's been awarded annually since then to the team that wins the season series. Coming in, the Ticats have 2 wins, the Argonauts the 1 win last week. So we may be coming down to a total point finale to decide who gets the Ballard Cup later tonight. Hamilton leading 77-58 coming in, but
now it's
the Argonauts have narrowed the gap.
Now it's 78-79 Toronto. They have the 1-point lead already.
I never would have thought that a couple of weeks ago. Good kick by Prefontaine. Amerson has it sail over his head and down to the 2-yard line. 13 seconds to go. Amerson takes a knee, basically, and at the 5-yard line.
That's exactly what Todd Bankhead will do to get out of this half. He'll probably take a knee twice, or at least just hand it to Ron Williams. He'll try to get out of this half. They've already had a nightmare down in their end of the field when they threw one to Calvin Tiggle.
Yeah.
Definitely don't want to take any chances down there.
63-yard boomer for Prefontaine there. Ron Lancaster has not liked the quarterbacking of his football team for the last 2 full games since McManus went up against Montreal 2 weeks ago, and of course last week in the first half here.
You're always tempted to look at Danny McManus, but boy, you sure don't want to rush him.
Other part of the Ticat story, Glenn, when you look at the season that Hamilton has had, they haven't had a whole bunch of games locked up early when they had a chance to get somebody in relief of Danny McManus. And the game that they did have that opportunity, and they put in Cody Ledbetter.
Yeah.
He went onto the field and broke his leg.
Well, that's true. Yeah, and he's
looking back to that time. You know, you think when you've got a quarterback like McManus, you want to get somebody else with a a little bit of game experience in there. They haven't had the chance. And with Ledbetter gone, they really haven't had anybody with any experience to throw in behind the center. Lancaster is frustrated. The Ticats are getting a little bit of a Bronx cheer here in Hamilton tonight. They trail by 20 to the Toronto Argonauts, who are fighting for their playoff lives at Ivor Wynn tonight.
Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN at the half.
Some of that language our microphones were picking up on the Ticats sidelines. Thought I was watching The Sopranos for a second. A very frustrated team, obviously, and it's obviously a different Ticat team without Danny McManus, but also a very different Toronto Argonaut team that we saw most of the season. They have come out with emotion, intensity, and they've looked good on both sides of the ball, not just the defense this week.
Yeah, they have, James. There's no question about that. You ever hear the story of the hammer, the nail? Oh, Hamilton Tiger Cats can understand that one right now. This has been a very, very impressive first 30 minutes for the Toronto Argonauts. Kerwin Bell is just playing outstanding football. I mean, he's distributing the football, using all his weapons. They're in full attack mode right now, and they are alive and well and back in this playoff race.
Now, Danny McManus standing on the sidelines in uniform, and you know some of the players are going to start peeking over at him. The temptation is there, Matt.
That's right. And Jackie Parker used to say, if you're not healthy enough to play, you're not healthy enough to dress. And it is a temptation for Ron Lancaster. It's not a good situation for those young quarterbacks out there. Todd Bankhead is now starting to look over his shoulder. He needs the support of his teammates. And right now, it's a complete meltdown by the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Just too many mistakes out there, mentally, physically. Chris, they're just not getting it done. And it serves them no purpose to have Danny Mac dressed on the sideline.
Hey, Bankhead is the issue, but you said something about the support of the teammates. I mean, if you're in the end zone in a football game and you know the Toronto Argonauts are coming, you have got to block. And you watch this play here, Calvin Tiggle's going to get the pick, but watch Ron Williams. We know Ron Williams is a great pass catcher. We know he's a pretty good runner, but this is a really poor effort. His base is poor. He kind of hugs him. He doesn't jam him. He could have cut him on the line of scrimmage. There are a lot of situations you could do. I know that Bankhead is struggling, but he didn't get much support from his team on that particular play, and that may have been a reason for the interception.
Yeah, it's not just missing Danny McManus' skill, but it seems like the intensity level drops a little bit when he's not in there. And it was all Argos in the first half of this one. They set it up early. Second drive of the game, that third down gamble pays off big time. Tyrone Brown is in, and the Argos are into the dressing room with a big lead.
Here's your chance to win a trip to Grey Cup 2000 in Calgary.
My play is the bacon mushroom melt play.
Now hit tsn.ca to enter. See contest details at Wendy's.
Can you wait a minute?
Garage door opener problems? LiftMaster garage door openers are professionally installed.
Here, Daddy, try this.
A phone is all you need. Call LiftMaster.
On the road to the Vanier Cup this week, your match to catch the undefeated McGill Redmen, 5-0 and ranked 7th in the nation, taking on Waterloo. The other three games in the CFL this week, CBC has the Lions and the Riders Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. Eastern start. It's the Bombers in Montreal to take on the Als. And then we have another edition of the Battle of Alberta, the Stamps and Eskimos, Sunday 5 Eastern. Stamps looking to lock up first place in the West. A couple of notes on our experts' picks this week. First of all, you see all those Hamilton logos. We made these early, thinking Danny Mac would play. And surprisingly, with all the little tips we have in here, we agree on virtually everything this week. Only difference, Matt takes BC and Saskatchewan. So did Eric, but he switched at the last minute. Gutless. He was...
Gutless.
Gutless.
BC can't cover my grandmother.
He was 4-0 last week, so give him some credit. Still time to catch a CFL game. Here's how. There are your numbers. Not pretty at all for the Ticats. Almost identical to last week. No yards practically and far too many turnovers. The Argos, on the other hand, have turned things around from last week, moving the ball effectively. 182 net yards on offense. Here's Sunil Joshi with a guy who's always smiling and lots of reasons to smile tonight.
Joining me is head coach Mike Clemens. A terrific first half of football for your team. Explain how this has happened.
You know what? I think the guys are just starting to believe. They're really buying in. Obviously, we're catching Hamilton at a real disadvantage, having the best player in the league not being able to play 2 weeks in a row. But the key is that we're taking advantage of that. We're not being lax or complacent. We're actually going out there and being assertive.
30 minutes of football left. Good luck.
Halfway there.
Okay.
All right.
They were definitely assertive in the first half, and I suppose if you're Coach Clemens, that's what you say at halftime, don't you?
Yeah, I think you do. I mean, I think it's real simple for Toronto. Just continue to be aggressive on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. Don't sit on the ball and get conservative. You look at this Toronto Argonauts football team, their confidence is growing with every quarter that passes. They're playing aggressive football, fun football. If they keep it up, hey, it's going to be fun to watch these last few weeks, Matty.
Eric, we talked at the top of the show about not putting Todd Bankhead in second and long situations. Well, Hamilton has continually found themselves in those situations. Plus, field position has been completely reversed. Hamilton has been backed up, and Toronto's been feasting off of their field positions. Marini's getting involved, chipping in field goals. Tiggle's got the interception for return. This Toronto football team is punishing the Hamilton Tiger Cats in every facet of the football game. I see Archie Emerson running out of bounds. The team's down by 17 points, and he's running out of bounds time and time again. To me, it's just one example of how it's a complete meltdown for Hamilton.
And how would you like to be a defensive lineman for the Toronto Argonauts in a game like this? I mean, you live for games like this as a defensive lineman because all you're going to do is come upfield and headhunt the quarterback play after play after play. But, you know, in an odd way, this kind of confirms something that I have a belief in. Players play harder for coaches that work with them, not against them. If you remember the first part of this season, nobody wanted to play for the previous administration. It was demonstrated in terms of enthusiasm and intensity on the field. What a turnaround now that you have a guy like Michael Clemens that works with people. You see him high-fiving Tyrone Brown. You see him talking to everybody. There's a communication there. There's a belief in other people there. And I think Michael Clemens understands the psychology of this game a lot more than some of the other coaches.
Also, the halftime interviews are a little bit longer than our previous coach. With Mike Clemens. Clemens and the Argos in control at the half in this one. They are dancing indeed. Calvin Tagle and company up by 20 as we head to the third.
Danny McManus warming up on the sidelines. I still don't think we're going to see him. Let's go down to Sunil Jassi with the Ticat head coach.
And with head coach Ron Lancaster, Hamilton Tiger Cats, what was said in the locker room between halves, and what can you do here?
Oh, I just think we just need to decide we're going to play some football. I mean, we played the whole first quarter with bad field position. We turned it over with a fumble. Then we turned around and gave them a touchdown on an interception. We're just getting our rear ends kicked, about all I can say about it. We just got to play better.
And, I mean, when you look at the quarterback situation, is there going to be a change?
Not going to be a change. You know what? He ain't having a great game, but I'm going to tell you what, it's not all his fault either. We got to play football. We haven't done that yet.
So he's going with the coach. Thank you very much, Ron.
Okay.
Tough start for Todd Bankhead, and here is the Argonauts' success thus far.
Big gamble down on the goal line. Pays off for Mike Clemens. Tyrone Brown comes up with a touchdown, and this is what Ron Lancaster was talking about, the mistakes that his offense has made, the interception to Calvin Tagle. He scores on that play. He's not going to make a change. Todd Bankhead will be back in and going to be very cautious, I should say.
They brought in a quarterback coach.
Yeah, he can't play, though. He's saying Doug Flutie can't play. He's still with the Buffalo Bills. They're going to be very cautious with Danny McManus, and I think they should be. And, you know, when you look at this game, what we've watched, it isn't just Todd Bankhead's fault. I mean, the guys at halftime showed missed blocks by Ron Williams. The offensive line for Hamilton has not played very well throughout this game. Didn't play very well last week either. You know, they've had the luxury of a quick release from Danny McManus for a long time. It's a little different now.
Kerwin Bell has a much better first half than he had a game last week. 12 of 24 for 158 yards, the one touchdown. Todd Bankhead 4 of 14, 29 yards, one interception that went for a touchdown.
4 of 14.
What's the percentage on that, Glenn?
No shot, man. Are you kidding me? I can't even reach my calculator. I'd help you. I'll take a guess. 28%.
I know it's less than 30.
Okay, I'm looking at a calculator now. Yeah, less than 30 is not good.
The Argonauts lead 21-1 as we get the second half underway. Archie Amerson returning for the Tiger Cats has a seam on the far side. And a pretty good return out near the 45. Something to build on for the Tiger Cats on a 28-yard return.
Right, and you got to go back to the game plan, I think, with the young quarterback and Todd Bankhead. You got to go back to the running game, and Ron Williams has got to be involved, and it'll give that offensive line up front a chance to fire off the football and deliver a blow instead of catching like they did in the first half.
Yeah, and it'll give Bankhead a little security down there.
You got to get him in
that right now.
Yeah, you got to get him in second and short, no question.
Ticats on first down. Bankhead looks to put it up. Now takes off for the first time. He'll have a first down and sliding safely near the 50-yard line. Something to bring the fans to their feet at Ivor Wynn.
Well, the best part of the play for Todd Bankhead is the quickness in which he made the decision. You know, he takes off and gets the first down running, but watch how quickly he makes the decision. Drops back to pass, doesn't see anything, says, okay, I'm taking off. That's it. Make that decision quickly, decide, and take off running.
Yeah, pretty good move on Calvin Tingle down there. Gain is 17. Ronald Williams broke one tackle and slipped another one, but he's only got about 4 yards. Martavius Houston over to make the stop on Ronald Williams. 6 for 28.
But when you figure running backs should get the ball somewhere up around 20 times a game, that's below what Ron Williams should be carrying it, especially with the inexperience at quarterback.
Last week, Williams carried it 14 times for 28 yards. Not much of an average there. 2nd and 6. Bankhead has some time, and he has a target. Corey Grant's down to the 20.
And this is the kind of protection that Todd Bankhead wasn't getting in the first half of this game, and he was being forced to throw bad throws in the first half. He has a chance to throw a nice feather touch. Watch Ron Williams up at the top of your screen here. Help out the end. He's right up here. Good double team at the top of your screen right there with Seth Dittman. Gives Todd Bankhead lots of time to throw the football.
And a 27-yard gain sets the Tiger Cats up at the 20. Bankhead looks to the end zone. Touchdown. Mike Morreale. Oh, baby. It can turn around in a hurry. And the Tiger Cats get a quick score to open the second half.
Well, you didn't want to be a fly in the wall of the locker room for the Hamilton Tiger Cats when Ron Lancaster went in there at halftime and discussed what happened in that first half. And if you're Todd Bankhead, you probably wanted to be that fly so you could get out of there in a hurry. But he comes out with confidence in the second half and is back against the wall. Gets some confidence with that big run and then throws a couple of pretty good passes.
Couple of nice passes on this drive. Bankhead to Morreale for the Tiger Cats' first touchdown. It's time to jump up and down for the Ticat quarterback. A little hope for the Ticats rookie quarterback Todd Bankhead, who engineered a rather impressive drive and finished off with a touchdown toss to Morreale.
Well, with his back against the wall and the pressure on, he comes out in the second half and puts together 3 big plays. But look at how close that is to Vernon Mitchell. There was about an inch between his fingers and the Morreale catch as he caught that one in the corner of the end zone there. A big play for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Not exactly a tight spiral on that.
Well, no, but
he slowed it right down, but he led the receiver.
That's right. He got it out in front of him and just out of the hands of Vernon Mitchell.
Ticats are on the board with a touchdown. It's 21-8 Toronto. James Jenkins, first time he's had a chance to return tonight. Looks to the outside, and he ran into Rob Hitchcock. He's hammered into the Tiger Cat bench. 23 on the return.
And James Jenkins getting a chance to play in the lineup tonight. Ryan Terry and James Jenkins, very similar to Michael Jenkins in his running style, but a little bit bigger.
Interesting numbers there. In the first half, Bankhead engineered 47 yards in total offense. On the last drive, 67 yards.
Took a few in the chin in the first half, but
yeah,
he's bounced back well.
Johnson and Johnson work on the chin there.
Yeah.
Tiger Cat fans come to life at Ivor Wynn. Kerwin Bell had a tough time against the Argos last week. Good first half here tonight. And he gets more than halfway to a first down. Michael Jenkins.
Well, I've been watching one matchup tonight. And it's been very interesting, and that's been Tony Burse on Joe Mumford. And every time, wherever Joe Mumford lines up, and this time he's right there, Tony Burse, who's going to be over here and sneak over, he always goes to that side. It's always Tony Burse 34 on 53 Mumford. Whether it's a running play or a passing play, Tony Burse has the assignment of trying to block the best sacker in the league.
Well, and he's done a pretty good job because Mumford hasn't been real close to Kerwin Bell often tonight. 2nd and 4, and Jenkins should have the first down. He does.
Well, on that play, he got a little bit lucky. I'm talking about Tony Burse because, again, he went to Joe Mumford's side, tried to block him. Mumford slipped him, but the play was designed to hit it up in there pretty quick. So Burse got a bit of a break because Mumford blew right by him on that play.
Argonauts have the lead 21-8. Argonauts have the first down at the 45. 3 receivers to the far side. Kerwin Bell looks there. Philbrick was coming. Jenkins was the target, and he was wrapped up by Michael O'Shea.
If you can play man-to-man defense, which Hamilton plays a lot of, it's tough to run a screen pass because there'll be someone designated to cover the guy you're trying to screen it to. They were trying to go to Michael Jenkins, but Michael O'Shea, that was his man. So Don Southern just says, hey, you can call screens all you want. I got a man covering your running back.
Second and 10 Argos, another key play for the Ticat defense to get back into this one.
Oh, man.
Cats moved early.
Mumford had to have moved early.
He did.
He had to.
He had a step and a half across the line.
If he got in there that quickly and was onside, then that's just not fair. It's just straight out not fair.
Offside. Hamilton, number 53.
Okay, good.
Second down.
All right. So he is human at least.
He is.
I mean, he got off the ball so quickly. Look at that. He's in the backfield before Jerry Kraft gets out of his stance and throws down Bell just for the heck of it.
So Montford got there, but he started early. This will be 2nd and 5 for the Argos. Now at the 50. Shotgun. Here's Michael Jenkins, has run well in the second half, and he's out to the 55. The spot will be important to the Argonauts here. Mike Clemens has gambled a couple of times. Once he got the touchdown, once he didn't get it. The Rays didn't get the first down. They'll measure to see how close they are.
Yeah, and the way he pointed, it looked like he was pointing to Kerwin Bell, basically saying, you decide, you're out there. Kerwin Bell's going to get close to that sideline and try and talk to his head coach while they do measure this. And that's one thing about asking for a measurement. Not only do you know exactly how far you need to go, but it buys you some time.
Yeah, it's a yard shy.
It buys you a little more time to make that decision. You see Kerwin Bell over there talking. I think Kerwin Bell has a play, and it may be a special play. Little play action or something possibly. Go up over the top. Because he ran over there with something in mind. Tony Burse comes in to bring a little more size into the game.
Made one that went for a touchdown, and then the Argonauts were stuffed on 3rd and touchdown to go from the 1-yard line. Got the touchdown to the very next play anyway. Tiggle intercepted and took it into the end zone. Mike Clemens and the Argos go gambling here. Play takes some time to develop, but Jenkins has the first down and about 5 to spare.
They're completely running away from Joe Mumford's side. Every single running play is away from Mumford. When we talked to Mike Clemens yesterday, he said on passing downs, we're going to double team him. Every time he lines up, we're going to put Tony Burse on that side and double team him. We're going to run away from him.
Look
Why
at the
not?
guns on Montford.
Yeah, when they made that mold, he broke out of it. I mean, is that the biggest arms in the CFL?
I think it is. He still lifts weights right through September and October. Here's Jenkins. Broke one, almost clothesline, broke another. And he's out across the 40-yard line. So the Argonauts have found a way to run as Jenkins picks up 9.
Just to finish the thought on Joe Montford, you look over his last 50 games in the Canadian Football League back to '98. He's registered 64 sacks in that time.
The interesting line on Montford came from Kerwin Bell yesterday, saying that Montford had told him that when all the other guys quit lifting in September, he still keeps lifting weights.
Exactly.
Nice thing to tell a quarterback. On 2nd and 1, the Argonauts have another first down.
So Bell went and said, Bell went in there and said, well, I better start lifting weights too.
Yeah.
But when you think of 64 sacks in the last 50 games, the equivalent of that for a hockey player would be like a 114-goal season.
You figured this out?
Yes, 114 goals with what a hockey player would have to do to match the production in the sack department for Joe Montford.
Well, he has 73 in his career, and he is a pleasure to watch play this game.
Maybe the defensive player of the year this year, possibly?
Well, he's got to be nominated. Here's Jenkins having a nice night. And the Argonauts continue to run right at the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Away from Montford, but right at the Tiger Cats. Gerald Vaughn finally able to make the stop. Not before Jenkins had 15, so Jenkins has been key on this drive.
Yeah, he has been running the ball very effectively, especially in the second half. You know, and again, Tony Burris is helping at the point of attack. They're trying to, for the most part, go away from Joe Montford's side, but that really hasn't been a problem for the Hamilton defense to date because they've had Mark Word over there who's played very well on the opposite side of the defensive line.
Jenkins again stopped in his tracks, but then he found a way to get by Willie Fells for a couple of yards.
And then when you think in the middle of that defensive line between Mike Philbrick and Jeff Cummins, Philbrick having his best season of his career, you know, they've been a very good team against the run. In fact, coming into this game, they ranked 2nd, giving up less than 100 yards a game.
Now, Philbrick has been injured out there. You can see the giant cast and padding on his right hand.
That's a club now.
That's a club.
And now he's going to do what's called the club move.
Bell puts it up. He got it through. Touchdown, Toronto. Somehow, Kerwin got the ball. Andre Kerwin.
How did he catch that?
First catch of the night. A bit of a miracle there, Hal. It got through to Andre Kerwin. It looked like it was decently defended by the Tiger Cats.
Well, I thought there was a couple of Tiger Cats that got their hand on the football. It was very close. Kerwin's gonna come across the field on the crossing pattern. It's in traffic. Again, another mix-up. There shouldn't be 2 Toronto receivers in the same area. Gerald Vaughn, I thought he even touched it.
And Harper couldn't keep him out of the end zone. So the Argonauts ride Jenkins most of the way down the field, and then Andre Kerwin has the touchdown. Toronto reestablishes a 21-point lead.
The virtual first down line is brought to you by Molson Canadian. I am Canadian.
Great drive by the Argonauts, finishes off here.
See, it was touched by Michael O'Shea, and then Gerald Vaughn was all over it, and Andre Kerwin still come up with a big catch. It's a pretty big play. It capped off a tremendous drive by the Toronto Argonauts.
Yeah, Michael Jenkins, a big part of it. He had 49 yards on this drive, but Andre Kerwin has the touchdown. 10 plays to cover 78 yards.
And you know, it's what's the saying? Better to be lucky than good, or good to be lucky, or something like that. That ball was touched by 2 Hamilton Tiger Cats on a play that looked like a mistake because Kerwin and Daryl Mitchell were in the same place.
Coming down Out of bounds on the far side. Archie Amerson was the closest Tiger Cat to it. For the Tiger Cats, Todd Bankhead engineered a touchdown.
Toronto, number 1, first down Hamilton.
And the illegal kickoff will give the Tiger Cats pretty good field position out at the 45 because they kicked it out of bounds.
With the rule change now, it's a huge penalty if you kick it out of bounds. They penalize you.
Basically, they give you instant field position.
Yeah,
now.
they put the ball on the 45-yard line. I mean, that's...
So the Ticats begin at the 45, trailing 28-8. Little pump fake by Bankhead. Looking into tight coverage, and it's picked off by Adrian Smith. His 3rd interception of the season. A little underthrown, and Smith was there in position to wait for it.
Well, again, and you know, at the half, Ron Lancaster said, you know, he's not playing a great game, but it's not all his fault. This time he gets protection, pump fake, but you're going to see tremendous coverage. I mean, where's Todd Bankhead supposed to throw the football? I mean, Adrian Smith is right there on Corey Grant. He can't get in behind him. And down at the bottom of your screen, there was another receiver there. I believe it was Flutie that was completely covered as well. He didn't have a target downfield uncovered. You know, and it's a team game, and especially when you got inexperience in one position, the other guy's got to pick it up. And they're kind of leaving Todd Bankhead out to dry right now.
Ticats are getting up there in total turnovers with 4 now. They had a couple more last week than that. Ticats were waiting. That's Joe Montford.
That's what happens when you run to his side. This is what happens when you decide, well, let's take a shot at Joe Montford's side. And this is what'll happen. You go, okay, let's run. We haven't run to Joe Montford's side for a while. Let's try one. Steps up, takes on the block, throws it away. Tony Burse isn't around.
Bad idea.
Oh, my goodness.
How many guys did Montford get rid of there?
Well, Jude St. John went for a ride. Tony Burse kind of gave him a ticket as he went by. And
Interesting thing at Montford, when you look at the official weigh-in, he's only 226 pounds. Which is pretty amazing for playing at rush end position. Tyrone Brown made the catch and will be well short of the first down on 2nd and 12. Nicholas Harper forced him out. So the Ticat defense gets it right back after the interception.
And you know that Ticat defense has got to be getting tired right about now. I mean, that's a big stop after the interception, but they have got to be feeling the effects of 2 and out, sometimes 1 and out by that Hamilton offense.
It looks like Don Southern has new earmuffs for underneath that headset, doesn't it?
I'll get yellow ones though. The orange isn't working for me.
Huge kick by Prefontaine. Amerson had trouble with it. And ran right smack dab into the first Argo upfield. Ticats will have a first down when we return. Morielli has the touchdown. Lancaster has heartburn because Kerwan has another Argonaut touchdown in response.
Swipe your club card at
Most nights it's cool to be a Tiger Cat fan. Maybe not tonight. Argonauts on top 28-8. Stay tuned following the game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Super 8 Motels.
What? They gave our room away?
Not what you want to hear. Then Super 8's where you want to stay, where VIP members get guaranteed rooms and 10% off. Clean, friendly Super 8. All the room you want.
Well, maybe the cheer girls can inspire the Tiger Cats tonight. Lots of time to go.
Wonder if any one of them can throw the football. Yeah, I guess.
Well, there have been a few quarterback jokes around town in the last little while after last week when it wasn't all Bankhead's fault. Billy Dickens started, and the Ticats were in a deep hole in the opening quarter. Bankhead is at the controls tonight. Far side, good move by Corey Grant. After after making the catch, he's out to midfield, and that'll be a Tiger Cat first down and an 18-yard gain.
Well, the difference between this week and last week and what Ron Lancaster was hoping would help is that they declared Todd Bankhead the starting quarterback at the beginning of the week and let him take all the starting reps. And although he did get off to a shaky start, he's starting to settle in a little bit. Has had a couple of good throws in this second half.
Yeah, and he's driven for a touchdown to Mike Morielli. 7 of 17, 94 yards. One interception, very costly. On first down, Morielli sneaks out, and he'll have another Hamilton first down near the 40.
And now he's getting Ron Lancaster Jr., the offensive coordinator's help, because the plays they're designing now for Todd Bankhead are simplifying the offense, getting him to move the pocket a little bit, throw on the run, and he's had some open receivers. So again, it's not always just the quarterback's fault. You got to get help from your coordinator. You got to get protection up front, and a receiver's got to get open. And that hasn't happened consistently tonight.
$18 yards there. Ticats just inside the Argonaut 40. Time again for Bankhead to move to his right. Can't find anyone open. Tipped away at the last possible second by Wayne Shaw. Andrew Grigg was the target.
Well, you hit it right on the head, though. You can't get anyone open. You got to give credit to that Argo secondary, because Bankhead had lots of time initially. He had lots of time when he rolled out, and he just couldn't find anybody open. Tried to force one in there to Andrew Grigg. And really, Grigg was covered on the play. So
Argonauts lead by 20. Second and 10. Bankhead is wrapped up and tossed to the turf by Fred Perry.
You know what? The Argos got there with a 4-man rush, and they were basically 4-man against 6 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, because Hamilton kept Ron Williams. See, there's Ron Williams. He's going to stay in and block. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to drop. Watch this. 4-man rush, little stunt in the middle, and with the 4-man rush, the 6 Hamilton blockers can't get the job done, and Ron Williams really is struggling blocking right now.
Osbaldiston will try a 51-yard field goal. He's way wide. Mitchell decides to take it out, and that fools a couple of Tiger Cats as Mitchell is driven into the Hamilton bench. Ozzie missed a 51-yarder, and it's still Toronto by 20. That may make it to Sports Desk tonight if Dutchie is picking the highlights. What do you think?
Dutchie's not an Argos fan? Is that what you're saying?
No, I just thought it was a good picture. Next edition, 11 o'clock tonight.
Well, he's from Porcupine Plains, Saskatchewan, so he's got to be a bit of a Rider fan, I would think.
I guess, yeah.
Speaking of the Riders, they played the BC Lions in a huge game.
Yeah, well, those are all going to be huge. Should say that's a first down for the Argonauts one more time. Yeah, that's going to be a dogfight out west.
Yeah, that's
for the final playoff spot
in Taylor Field, and CBC will have that game
BC
Saturday.
and Saskatchewan have 2 meetings left, 2 points separating them in the battle for third. Kerwin Bell, watch out! He got it through.
Oh, Nicholas Harper was inches away from 6 points. He took a gamble. They've been trying to work on him, and this time he was waiting for his chance to jump one of these outs. He finally does it, and he just missed the football.
Tyrone Brown.
Oh,
huge play for the Argos.
So close, but if you gamble, you got to get your hands on it. He cuts underneath that ball. Tyrone Brown hangs on and gets the yardage after the fact. Seen a little bit of rolling the dice here from both teams. Mike Clemens a couple of times. Nicholas Harper takes a chance.
24 yards to gain. Argonauts are at the Ticat 51. Here's Michael Jenkins. Escaped again. This guy's having a nice night running the football. Jenkins is short of the first down, as you can see, but he should have been an awful lot shorter.
Well, you know, there's yak yards. There's yards after catch. There's also yards after first contact. And I think if you were to keep that stat right now with Michael Jenkins, it would be a lot of yards, a lot of his yards here tonight, because the guy is just not going down with the first tackler.
No, he should have been stopped really after about a 2-yard gain. That's his 17th carry, and he's 13 away from 100. Last play of the third quarter coming up. Argonauts looking at 2nd and 2, and Jenkins won't get it there. Submarined by O'Shea, number 59. And that's the final play of the third quarter. Looks like the Argos are about a yard shy. Fourth quarter is dead ahead from Ivor Wynn in Hamilton.
Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN at the quarter. Brought to you by New Arctic Ice, the invigorating new fragrance of the Gillette series. It's beyond refreshing.
James Duffy and the boys back with you, and it's one thing to beat the Hamilton Tiger Cats at Skydome when you have 4 defensive touchdowns. It's quite another to do it right in Ivor Wynn when you're running the ball absolutely down their throats.
And you know what? In some ways, the Toronto Argonauts are going to win this game because of what happened in the third quarter. I mean, you put together a 10-play drive for 78 yards, and you take 6 minutes and 20 seconds off the clock. It's not a single play. It's a series of successful plays, and it was all the running game. That means your people up front and your fullback are dominating their defensive front 7. And I bet you tomorrow, of all the things that Hamilton will be disappointed in, you can talk about all the quarterbacks, all the receivers, and all those little periphery things. I think it's that series, that one running-dominated series, that means everything to this game.
Chris, and it's when they did it. They responded immediately to Hamilton's coming out and scoring a quick touchdown. They responded with that long drive, and I think that's very important for this Toronto team, trying to establish themselves, fighting for their lives in a playoff spot, going out there and asserting themselves after Hamilton scored.
Matt, a few weeks ago, Don Matthews advised his good friend Jim Popp not to trade Dwayne Morgan to the Toronto Argonauts. His Eskimos had just lost to those Argos 34-21, and he had seen the beginning of this turnaround. Jim Popp didn't listen, and I tell you what, this offensive line really is very impressive. Like you said, Chris, they're controlling the line of scrimmage, and as it gets colder, the ability to run the football is very, very important.
And those words from Don Matthews, just another sign of the respect that the Argos are starting to get around the league, and well-deserved. On the verge of back-to-back victories, though it's not done just yet. We're back at you Sunday afternoon. Installment number 4 this season of the Battle of Alberta. Stamps looking to lock up first place in the West. They can do it with a win over the Eskimos. 5 p.m. Eastern, Sunday.
Well, the Tiger Cats won the Labor Day Classic here at Ivor Wynn, and we're growing close to Halloween here, so that might be a popular costume around Tiger Town.
I think that little girl was happier on Labor Day. That's where she got the T-shirt. Happier than she is tonight when she's watching her Ticats.
Yeah, they're not having as good a night. You got the memo about the shirt, I see. So
yeah, we shop at the same store, I see.
Rather sharp tonight. Listen, this has been a terrific show for the Toronto Argonauts thus far. When you look back to the problems they had last week generating any offense at all.
Well, now they all of a sudden have a running game. Michael Jenkins running the ball very effectively in the second half especially, and seem to get on track throwing the football.
Now the Argonauts looking at 3rd down and a half a yard to go, and that will be another Toronto first down.
And you know, Kerwin Bell pretty much simplified it yesterday when I chatted with him. He was saying that it's really simple. We have to be able to block their front 4 with our 5 guys. We can't always be bringing in backs, and we've got to be able to handle them. They couldn't do that last week. This week and tonight, they've done a good job doing that.
Interesting numbers. The Argonauts closing in on 300. The Ticats barely close to 100 and a half.
That's bad.
And the first downs.
If I'm on defense, I have a word or two for Todd Bankhead at the end of the game. We need more first downs than that, man. Jenkins
closing in on 100. Stopped by Mike O'Shea again. Good production on first down with the Argonaut running game tonight.
Early in the year, I mentioned it at the beginning of the game, Michael Jenkins and Ryan Terry split time in the backfield, and Ryan Terry out, Michael Jenkins getting the ball all game tonight and really establishing himself close to 100 yards.
Well, another 8 yards there, so that puts the Argonauts at 2nd and 2. He's 4 yards away from 100. Tony Burse. And it looks like he must have the first down.
That's just to keep Tony Burse happy. You know, you got that big fullback, and in the game plan, he gets the game plan when he walks in at the beginning of the week, and he looks up his number, and on the right beside his number, it says block. Joe Mumford. And then it says block, 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 and he goes, oh, great, that's going to be my night, me and Joe Mumford head-to-head. So you give him the ball once or twice just to say, there you go. And you know, we don't want to make you all just unhappy and grumpy the whole way.
Well, it takes a couple of guys to handle Joe Mumford, and Burse has kept him out of Kerwin Bell's face for the most part tonight.
Well, there was a time that a lot of people in the league felt that he was the only fullback that was able to block Mumford.
And that is James Jenkins, wrapped up by Gonzalo Floyd. Floyd just back in the lineup last week after missing a couple of weeks.
Yeah, Gonzalo Floyd will rotate into the lineup and has throughout the night with Jeff Cummins and Mark Word. He is the designated import for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, which means he can only come in for an import.
A loss of 1. This is 2nd and 11 facing the Argonauts now. We're nicely into the 4th quarter. Kerwin Bell. As flags go down, the catch is made and wrapped up immediately by Sean Woodson. Eddie Brown.
Well, it's going to be a holding call, I believe, against the Argos. So it'll be interesting to see what Ron Lancaster does. If he declines the penalty, it's 3rd and about 11. But they're in field goal range for sure.
Holding Toronto, number 62. 2nd down repeated.
If he takes the penalty, pushes him back, which is what I believe he's going to do. Yeah, it pushes them into a longer field goal attempt should they stop him, but it also gives them one more down. The 2nd down obviously is repeated, but
2nd and a whole bunch, though. 2nd and 20.
Ron Lancaster will force him back and see if his defense can't come up with a big play. You start to get the feeling that the Ticats have to score on defense to win this game or get back in it anyway.
I think they need a couple of big plays from the defense without question. Maybe something on special teams. 2nd down, 21 to go.
I believe Kerwin Bell was looking at the time clock. Now he's going to try and change the play and call a different play on the line of scrimmage.
He's got to hurry. He'll get it away. Tony Burse gets about 5 back. Mike Philbrick wrapped him up. So an interesting situation here for the Argonauts. Are they in range for Jacob Marini? Noel Prefontaine tried one earlier. Prefontaine's longest is 49 so far this year.
Well, it's Marini out there with the tee. 42-yard attempt for Jacob Marini.
Just a slight breeze at his back.
Remember, Jimmy Kemp, the holder, is also the backup quarterback.
But this is 3rd and too many to gamble on. 3rd and 15. He's got it. 3 more for the Toronto total. It's now 31-8. The Argonauts lead the way on Adidas Friday Night Football. Tiger Cats' next home game is Sunday against the Calgary Stampeders. Look, our little friend's been to the ladies' room and had her Tiger Cat stripes freshened up just a little bit there. And for the Argos, next game is Saturday, October 21 against the Eskimos. Those are the numbers to call for tickets. And she's a sweetheart, isn't she?
Well, there's a future cheerleader if I've ever seen one. Got the pom-poms
She's got the wave down. There's no question about that. Ticats trying to get back in this one. Todd Bankhead had to hurry the throw, and he's on the money. Amerson has it out near midfield.
It's been a weird night.
Yeah, it's Friday the 13th.
Full moon. The weirdos are out. Some strange people. And they're, well, that's a retired free safety, a couple years out of the game.
Played 11 years in the league at free safety. Been retired for 2 years now.
I feel the bad moon rising right now.
Bankhead just got it away, and Flutie has it wrapped up by Houston.
Well, you know, that last play, Todd Bankhead throws it in there to Archie Amerson. Remember him? Only the big play guy for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who has been invisible in this game. And I know Archie Amerson was a little upset with me because I was talking in a BC game about him being shut down by Jerome Bolden of Winnipeg. Didn't like that word, shut down.
Well, it was true, wasn't it? Bankhead is wrapped up.
He doesn't feel like anyone can shut him down, but it was true on that day.
Tyrone Rogers got through. He's the ex-Blue Bomber, and that's his second sack this season.
And Archie Amerson's been quiet tonight, but it's not been because he hasn't been open. It's because Todd Bankhead has really had his problems. Tyrone Rogers, right, direct rush up the middle, little swim move on Carl Coulter, and then Todd Bankhead goes down.
Third sack by the Argonauts.
Third sacks, bunch of turnovers. Adds up to a big lead.
31-8 as it stands right now. Ticats set to kick it away again. A wobbler and short. One hop. Tyrone Brown reverses. And it didn't fool anyone. Wrapped up by Jarrett Smith. 1 yard on the return. The Argos on a nice roll at Ivor Wynn.
The virtual first down line is brought to you by Molson Canadian. I am Canadian.
Adidas Friday Night Football from Ivor Wynn and Hamilton. There are Tiger Cats.
Well, they
every stripe all around this ball yard tonight.
Haven't had a lot to cheer about, but hey, it's past their bedtime and they're out at the ballpark. That's why they're happy.
It's Friday night. They get to stay up a little later.
Sure.
Tough night to be a Tiger Cat fan again. Argos have another first down beginning at the 24. And the Argos lead it 31-8. James Jenkins is in for Michael Jenkins.
Well, when you look at this Hamilton team, though, you can go back from this game and you can say, well, yeah, it'll be easy to blame Todd Bankhead and say he didn't get the job done. But I'll tell you what, this is a defense that gave up a ton of rushing yards to Michael Jenkins, gave up some big plays there. They did not protect well offensively on the offensive line, and they really didn't have any running game offensively at all. So this is a team loss. Should it end up that way for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and it looks like it will.
Yeah, here's the difference for the Argos. Last week, 117 yards total through 4 quarters passing. Tonight, 195 through 3. Jenkins couldn't hang on. That's James Jenkins.
Well, this is going to be the series for Todd Bankhead. If he have any chance of coming back in this football game, it's got to be now. They have over 8 minutes remaining in the game. A huge deficit to make up. But this has got to be the series that begins it.
Prefontaine back at his 12. Slight breeze behind him. Big charge was on. He got it away. Amerson to the 50. 10 yards on the return. 1st and 10. Tiger Cats trying to scrap their way back in this one on Adidas Friday Night Football. Argonauts having a night to celebrate. Neil Joshi is down there.
Well, gentlemen, you know that the team usually personifies what the coach is all about. So in the first half, the Argonauts were very, very enthusiastic because that's exactly the way Pinball Clements is. In the second half, with a lead of 31-8, they're becoming more subdued, but definitely more businesslike as this game wears on. I don't need to tell you what's happening on the Hamilton sidelines, guys.
Absolute frustration over there, I'd say.
No question. You know, and for Hamilton, they know one thing. They have a very good football team that lives and dies at the quarterback position with Danny McManus.
Ticats have 7:32 to get back and close. Bankhead far side. As Andrew Gregg. Well, I would guess Bankhead must get the call again next week if Danny Mac can't go, wouldn't you?
Well,
I mean, he's done a little bit tonight.
Well, there's no question about it in my mind, because you look right now, if Billy Dicken was in the running, he'd have played in this game tonight.
Yeah, earlier than or maybe early in the first half. The way Bankhead started, he's settled down a little bit. Ronald Williams, one good run for Ronald Williams, huge first down.
So, you know, with Billy Dicken not playing at all, and the hamstring and Danny McManus, yeah, you'd have to say Todd Bankhead.
Well, 7 of 9 for 112 yards for Bankhead in the second half.
Well, he played better at the end of last game as well. And there's Billy Dicken on the sideline. Did not see any action tonight. Now, McManus, there was still some question, which bodes well for next week for Hamilton, but
Ronald Williams is running well now, and he ran into Donovan Carter.
But next week, you know, the Ticats will play in Winnipeg on a road game. It's likely going to be a little cool in Winnipeg. You've got a hamstring injury that you're really 3 weeks into rehab. And Danny McManus, you go over there in cold Winnipeg Stadium, you certainly don't want to push it again. So, you know, it's still a big question mark as to whether or not Danny McManus can go next week.
2nd and 5. Bankhead has time, and then it evaporates on him, including the pocket there.
He can't get any more time than that.
Dunbrack and Blue were there.
You know, and there was great coverage downfield, because you just can't give a guy any more time than that to throw the football. I mean, this is, you just count the steamboats here. This will be regular speed for you. Let's go. Snap of the ball. Here we go. 1 steamboat, 2 steamboat, 3 steamboat, 4 steamboat, 5 steamboat, 6 steamboat, 7 steamboat, 8 steamboat, 10 steamboat. Yeah.
He had enough time.
Steamboat sinking.
3rd down. Ticats go gambling.
And that time he had no time.
Well, maybe 1.
He went from 8 steamboats to 0.5 of a steamboat. He went from 8 steamboats to 1 steam. He's down.
Dunbrack got through, and he got steamrolled is what happened.
It was, whoa. Well, that's been the kind of night it's been. You know, he didn't get protection up front, doesn't get a chance to throw. He's had a time to throw occasionally and hadn't had an open receiver, and then he's overthrown a couple of receivers.
Yeah, and he's shaking up right now.
Well, so we may see Billy Dicken. He may be forced into play.
5:07 to go. And look at the charge from the Argonauts here.
This was just pin your ears back and take off. Leroy Blue, Tyrone Rogers. It's a race to Todd Bankhead, and actually it's Dunbrack.
Dunbrack got there, yeah.
Wins the race and adds to his sack total, and he's the leader in that category for the Argos up front.
So Todd Bankhead being attended to. Had his first start as a Tiger Cat here tonight. And that means Billy Dicken is coming into the game. McManus can't save this by any stretch of the imagination, and Lancaster was hesitant to play him tonight anyway because of the hamstring injury. So quarterbacking shuffle here due to injury. Ticats in a big hole against the Argos in Adidas Friday Night Football. Mike Pinball Clemens, now known as Coach Clemens, doing rather well behind the Argonauts bench, or at least in front of it. Argos have sacked Tiger Cat quarterbacks 5 times. Pinball is on the verge of his 4th win as a head coach.
I found it interesting. I was asking Pinball what his philosophy as a head coach was going to be, and he said, well, we're going to live and die on the defensive side of the football, and that's what I believe you have to do. Interesting coming from a guy who made his living as a player carrying the football on offense.
There's Michael Jenkins. Gonzalo Floyd got him.
And you know,
we got to get used to calling him Coach Clemens.
Yeah, I know. Coach Pinball doesn't quite work quite well, does it? But you know what? When you talk about defense, and his philosophy will be to always build a strong defense. Toronto defense held Hamilton tonight on 16 possessions. 11 of those were 2 and out. That's playing great defense. So
on the other side of the ball,
getting what he wants.
Yeah, on the other side of the ball, though, Glenn, the Argonauts opened the first quarter with an impressive drive, couple of first downs, and pinned Hamilton's rookie quarterback deep. Here's Jenkins sliding out of the backfield. He was hammered, but he got the first down.
And he's had a breakout game, too, Michael Jenkins.
Sean Woodson was there.
Well,
so was Kevin Brooks.
It's an important win for the Argos, and it looks like they'll hang on to win this one 31-8 with just over 3 minutes left. But important when you consider that Mike Clemens still believes they have a great chance of the playoffs, and when you look at it, they really do. You know, when they're 1 point behind the BC Lions, who will play tomorrow afternoon in Saskatchewan, okay, they can cross over to the Western Division.
Yeah, which I wouldn't have believed was at all possible 4 weeks ago.
They're 3 points behind Winnipeg.
Jenkins again.
3 points.
The other Jenkins, James Jenkins, sorry.
3 points behind the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the standings right now. Winnipeg will play on Sunday in Montreal. A tough game for the Bombers. So with this win, the Argos can move to within a point of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the East. They can also keep their crossover hopes alive because BC and Saskatchewan have to play each other 2 more times.
2 more times, and that could be rather interesting. I mean, if they split and the Argos keep winning, I mean, it might be a long shot, but the Argos do have 2 home games of their last 3 remaining.
Cross right over.
3 minutes to go at Iverwin and Hamilton. The Argos got a hot start, and they continue to roll over the Hamilton Tiger Cats on Ticat turf at Iverwin tonight. Touchdowns by Brown and Tiggle and Kerwood. It's 31-8. Tiny Ticat fans all over the place tonight. Sports Desk with Dutchie and Rod. Your next update at 11 o'clock Eastern time, about 45 minutes from now. Not a night to cheer for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, who lose a little ground to the Alouettes in this one tonight.
Well, yeah, that's the other side of the issue. They're still trying to catch Montreal Alouettes for first in the East Division, and Montreal playing at home to Winnipeg against Winnipeg on Sunday.
Yeah, okay.
Now, I'm not just giving Montreal the win there. Winnipeg's been playing well of late.
How do you figure out the Blue Bombers? I mean, I don't know how to pick them in Canadian football anymore. I mean, the Bombers looked like they were beaten a couple times last week, and they just came hammering right back against the BC Lions.
When I watched that game against BC, I thought that game was a huge step for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers because every time BC scored, Winnipeg responded. And that's a sign that the team is starting to believe and starting to gain confidence. So watch out for Winnipeg down the stretch.
Well, yeah, I think so, too. I mean, not that the Bombers trailed in the game, but it looked like they were ready to give it away a couple of times.
And early in the season, they would have given it away, but they're not now, and that's been the big difference. And Toronto looking better under Mike Pinball Clemens as the head coach. Their offensive line has improved in a big way. Got a little bit of a running game.
Gambling again on 3rd and 1. James Jenkins tries to spin outside, and I don't think he's got the first down. 2:17 to go. Ticats will get it back.
Surprised that Michael Jenkins isn't in the game unless Mike Clemens is deciding to rest Michael Jenkins for next week and just see what James Jenkins can do. A lot of Michaels and Jenkins in there, but
well, they've alternated a couple of sequences in the last couple. So.
Well, he wants to see what James Jenkins can do, but that's definitely a play when you toss it out there like that on a 3rd down gamble that Michael Jenkins would be perfectly suited for with his quickness.
So the Ticats have Billy Dicken in the game. Todd Bankhead has a slight concussion. He was hammered by a couple of Argonauts in the last sequence, so Billy Dicken gets his opportunity to see if he can mop up here. Dicken had a tough time last week going long here, and he missed Flutie by about 5 yards. Dicken had 1 completion out of 8 for 4 yards and 1 interception last week. He fumbled the first time he got his hands on the ball, and Fred Perry took it in for an Argonaut touchdown. Argonauts have 1 defensive touchdown tonight, but the offense much improved as far as Toronto is concerned this evening.
Well, you know, and the reality for Hamilton is they've got to find a way to win a game with either Billy Dicken or Todd Bankhead. I don't believe that they should rush Danny McManus. back into the lineup.
Well, there's no urgency at this point in time because they've now fallen 4 back. Morelli makes the catch. Flags are down. I should say, possibility of falling 4 back with Montreal, depending on what the Alouettes do in their makeup game this weekend.
You know, and the other side of the issue is that you don't ever want to just sort of give up games. In other words, you don't want to put Todd Bankhead in or Billy Dick in and just say, well.
Contact on a receiver, Toronto number 21. The penalties declined. First down.
Todd Bankhead
shaking the cobwebs out.
He's got a bit of a concussion, and that's why we're seeing Billy Dicken. But, you know, they don't want to give it away because going down the stretch in this playoff drive where you're trying to position yourself for the playoffs, you want to go into the playoffs winning, playing your best football.
Dicken looking long again. There are Argos everywhere. It's picked out. Another interception. It's Simmons. And Marcelo Simmons is out to the 40. So a minute 45. Dicken not having much success.
A lot of coverage over there by Andrew Gregg, but I guess at this point in the game, why not give it a shot? Marcelo Simmons over there in the coverage. And Gregg running straight down the field, and you'll see some more coverage coming in, and they're just 3 Argos there.
Simmons sat there and waited for it.
And
Dicken got hammered.
Friday the 13th, the full moon, and the nightmare continues for Hamilton Tiger Cat quarterbacks.
That's Johnny Scott hammering the Tiger Cat quarterback. And Scott comes up the worst of it. Comes out of it with the injury.
Got a big win for the Argos. And you look at the Argos the rest of the way. If they can get Michael Jenkins continually involved in the running game like he was tonight, 168 total yards. He gets the Adidas game ball. 102 of those along the ground.
Yeah, and he had 49 yards in response on the drive after the Ticats touchdown to start the second half. So Jenkins, 49 yards on that sequence.
That was a big, yeah.
That was a big part of reestablishing the Argonaut dominance in this game. So we'll give them the Adidas game ball tonight.
Absolutely.
And we're going to give the Argonauts the Ballard Cup tonight, too. Ticats won the first 2 games of the regular season from Toronto. The Argonauts have come back to win the last 2, and when we total up the points that are on the board right now, Toronto in total points 93, Tiger Cats in total points 85. 2 wins each, so that's the only way I can figure out how they can hand out the Ballard Cup.
Well, you got the math done,
2-2,
and that's how they're going to give it to them. So this is the rest of the way for the Toronto Argonauts. They'll take on Edmonton and Winnipeg and finish up in a real tough one in Montreal. Still have a very good chance of making the playoffs now. When you look at the big picture, Winnipeg has to play Montreal. We mentioned that on Sunday. So they lose that game. Toronto's a point behind them for third.
They went from hating me.
And depending on what happens in BC Saskatchewan tomorrow.
Oh, this could get very interesting. Crossover possibilities. Everyone thought the crossover would be coming from the west.
That's right.
With the start that the Argonauts had in the bygone Heward era. But pinball, I keep saying pinball. Mike Clemens.
Coach Clemens.
Coach Clemens has done something to inspire this football team without question. He is now 4-1 as a head coach without the pads and the helmet on. So Mike Clemens has done a pretty good job of inspiring this Argonaut team.
Jimmy Kemp get a chance to take some snaps to mop up this football game with 1:45 left. And that's why we are seeing James Jenkins.
Willie Fells making the stop. Numbers on Kemp, who got a lot of starts for the Argonauts early.
You know, when you combine the yardage from Jimmy Kemp, Kerwin Bell, and all the other quarterbacks, Jay Barker and everybody else that played for the Argos, it's really not bad when you look at their total numbers. Over 3,500 yards passing. That'd be right up there in the top of the league for one quarterback.
But the start was horrendous, Glenn.
No question.
James Jenkins tries the left side. And he's got about a yard.
Well, you look at their season, really. They started out with that win in Saskatchewan when they had the huge running game against a real young defense in Saskatchewan.
That was Michael Jenkins in week 1 for 148 yards.
And then they didn't win a game for 8 straight. You know, and then Mike Clemens takes over as the head coach, and all of a sudden they're back in the thick of things. And it has been a huge turnaround with a chance to make it to the postseason, and then who knows?
Well, they'll need a couple more victories before they can grab a playoff spot, but there has to be hope after this performance tonight. Don't forget the Ticats have a great defense. Prefontaine sails that one right through, and Grant didn't have an opportunity to get his hands on it.
And in fairness to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, you take out not only the starting quarterback, but also the backup quarterback on any team's lineup, and they're going to struggle, I guarantee you.
Well, look what happened to the Calgary Stampeders 5 weeks ago with Dave Dickinson out. They lost 2 in a row to the Eskimos. Actually lost 3 in a row, including the game that Dickinson went out in.
You know what?
You're just not as good without the quarterback who brought you to the game.
Yeah, and you know what's surprising, though, with this Hamilton offense is, yeah, you think they struggle in the passing game without Danny McManus, but I'm really surprised that they didn't run the ball very well. I'm really surprised they didn't protect it all, and defensively they didn't have a great game here tonight either.
Well, the run game is not really bread and butter for the Tiger Cats.
No, but
Danny McManus is in there. They throw to the slot backs, and they go outside, and they go to Archie Emerson coming out of the backfield.
But the running game and defense has nothing to do with the quarterback. So, yeah, I mean, you need the balance, there's no question. And this is a throwing team with Danny McManus, but 64 yards rushing for Ronald Williams is just not good enough in a game that he has to run the football successfully, especially on first down.
Argonauts add 1 more point to make it 32-8. That was an 84-yard single for the record.
So that's what's a little surprising to me, but not surprising that they're going to struggle without Danny McManus, last year's most valuable player in the game.
Rogers wrapped up Williams.
Here's what we thought you should watch in the first half. The Hamilton defense did do a good job against Daryl Mitchell. He had just 3 catches, but
so we were wrong there.
Well, the supporting cast did come up big, though, for the Argos, and Tyrone Brown had some catches. Andre Kerwin with a touchdown. Didn't throw the ball to Mitchell, but they threw it to some of the other Argonaut defenders. We're talking about Calvin Tiggle, who had a touchdown. And
we were a little off the mark looking at this one when you think about it.
Okay, a bit off the mark. That happened.
Anderson hammered as he took the pass from Dickon.
It's a full moon. It's Friday the 13th, so we didn't get the keys bang on.
Well, no, but the fact is they were thinking about going to Mitchell. That's Darrow Mitchell, and they found other receivers. So Mitchell has 3 catches for 18 yards. And they didn't go to Vernon Mitchell. The Tiger Cats didn't throw it in his vicinity, but that was Vernon Mitchell on the hit right there. So the Argos move within a point of the Blue Bombers.
They've handled the playoff pressure so far better than the Ticats tonight.
So we got that one.
We got one. We got the
3. That's all she wrote for the Hamilton Tiger Cats tonight. Ticats have now lost 3 in a row. The Argonauts have won back-to-back from the Tiger Cats. Last week, they did it with a superior display on defense. Tonight, they really took care of that Hamilton Tiger Cat defense.
Well, they generated a running game from Michael Jenkins. They adjusted their passing game and got some good work, good solid game out of Tyrone Brown and Andre Kerwin. So full credit to Mike Clemens and the Argo offense that really picked it up from a week ago.
No doubt about it, the Tiger Cats are not quite the same without number 14 behind the center. The final here on Adidas Friday Night Football, the Argos 32, Hamilton 8.
Swipe your club card at Safeway for...
Here is your keg game story. Michael Jenkins racking up the yards, 168 total. Bankhead had a better game and a better second half, I suppose, than last week, but still not nearly enough as the Argos do sweep the back-to-back games. And Pinball 4-3 as their head coach. And remember, 2 of those losses came when he was a player coach, so 4-1 when he's just had the headset on. And what I think you saw out there, last week, Toronto's defense was absolutely dominant. The 4 defensive touchdowns, but absolutely dominant both sides of the ball. Let's talk about this game in just a moment. First of all, we are joined by the one and only Mike Pinball Clemens, who, as we said, you know, the transition from player to coach was supposed to be difficult, Pinball. You're making it look awful easy. Can you hear us, Mike?
Hello, is that James?
Yeah, it's James, Mike.
How you doing?
Good, congratulations. I was just saying the transition from player to coach was supposed to be tough. You're making it look awful easy.
Oh, you know what? I haven't won a game yet. The players win games. You know that. We're really have put a concerted effort together. It seems like we've not only caught our stride at the right time, but we've been very fortunate. Let's not kid ourselves. An absence of Danny McManus for 2 weeks certainly helped us out.
Michael, Eric Tillman, you talk about the importance of a guy like Danny McManus. Tell us about the importance of Kerwin Bell and what he's meant to this football team.
You know what? Kerwin is not only a great football player. I call him the best pure passer in the league. But he is a great leader. And for us, he was a great teacher because when we came in, we had no offensive coaches with any prior CFL coaching experience. And so that's a really difficult position to be in. And so none of our coaches on that side of the ball still have any CFL experience other than the games they've coached this year. Kerwin has brought an old head, we'd like to say, into the game, a mature, wise head that understands the game, and he really plays off those guys. And our coaches, our offensive coaches, really work hard. They've really come a long way. They really understand the game now, and he adds so much to that.
Pinball, Matt Dunnigan here.
Matty.
Hey, so good to be talking to you as opposed to John Heward right now. Completely different scenario from the last time you were in Ivory Wind Stadium. You're on the sidelines, victorious in a coach's uniform. Tell me this, Mike.
Yes.
How much of importance was it to get Tyrone Brown involved early and go after the young Harper on the corner? It seems like that was pertinent in your attack early.
We talked about that so much, and Harper did a really good job. He really responded to it. He played Tyrone Brown well, but Tyrone came up with a couple of big plays for us, not only as a receiver, but also in the return game. And thinking back to that Labor Day game, you were right, Matt. I should have been on the sidelines helping my guys and not playing.
Hey, Matty, Chris Schultz here. My #1 observation about you as a head coach is you understand that this is a game of people and of emotion. I want you to share some of the tricks of the trade. How do you get these guys to change their mentality because now they are aggressive, they're playing with abandon? Is there anything specific you emphasize?
Well, we really emphasize defense and contact. As you know, Chris, this is a contact game, but I like to say I'm an ordinary coach with extraordinary players. They're simply responding. These guys are amazingly resilient. After going through everything that happened in the first half of the season, a coaching change, this sort of thing almost never works, and especially with a guy with no experience that doesn't know what he's doing out there. So they've responded really well to me and has really rallied around. There are no secrets other than I've got 39 guys that play hard every down.
Michael, Eric again, what seemed like a pipe dream a few weeks ago was the possibility of this team being in the playoffs. Now it's right there in front of you. The attitude of this team, the emotion, how real are this playoff possibility for you right now?
Well, we've been saying we're for real for a long time, and no one has really believed us, and that's not a cocky thing. That's what we're striving for. And the reality is in this league is that you can make that late charge even after a bad first half, and being around, certainly we understand that after being around the league so long. So we were really content or really adamant about our chances to make the playoffs and our desire to focus on that and to make that happen. And now it looks like it's going to be reality, but we're a long ways away. There's a lot of good play, a lot of good teams that are still ahead of us, and a lot of days left. We still got to play some good football.
Mike, Matt Dunnigan here again. You have an offensive line that is coming into its own. Michael Jenkins seems to be running at will against a team that has been able to stop the run this year. You have an offensive line that took a lot of criticism early in the first half of the season. What's been the biggest turnaround there?
Yes! Oh, I'm sorry about the excitement. My offensive line, I love these guys. They've really hung together. Ron Meyer, huge difference. We got him from Calgary a few weeks back. 2 weeks ago, we also added, help me out, Dwayne Morgan. Yes, to that mix in a trade from Montreal. So we got those two guys. Jude St. John has been playing well all year. Nunziata has been all over the place. Now with the injury to Chad Folk, he's stable in there. Jerry Crafts is a mountain of a man that's doing a great job. They've simply come together. It's a wonderful thing.
Pinball, congratulations. You still look a little strange with the headset and the cap on, but you're doing a heck of a job.
Thank you so much, guys.
Pinball Clemens, the coach of the victorious Toronto Argonauts, and again, 4-1 when he's been on the sideline in that headset. The Argos win the back-to-back series against the Ticats. Kerwin Bell and company absolutely dominant. We'll be back with lots more right after this.
Time now for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by Super 8 Motels.
Back in the second quarter, after a huge goal line stand by the Hamilton defense gave the Ticats momentum, Todd Bankhead handed it right back when he handed the football to Calvin Tingle. He scores. The Argos didn't look back.
A cash donation will be made to the Canadian Coaches Association on behalf of Super 8 Motels. Clean and friendly Super 8s. All the room you want. Argos very much alive. Tingle has a touchdown, and the Argos roar to a 32-8 win in Hamilton.
They know where you live, and they're already in your house. Millions of airborne irritants like pollen, bacteria.
Your updated standings in the East. Montreal now has a chance to move 4 points up on Hamilton for first place if they beat Winnipeg this weekend. And also, Toronto, again, just 1 point back of the Bombers. And as we check out the West, Toronto is now tied with BC. Now, remember, if Toronto finishes ahead of both BC and Saskatchewan, they would make the playoffs in the West. So it is wide open heading down the stretch. Let us talk about all three remaining games this weekend, beginning with BC and Saskatchewan. And when you are fighting for your playoff lives, you don't need to be fighting each other. Such is the case with both of those clubs. They meet each other this weekend, and Ray Morrison has a preview.
The Riders are trying to put on a brave face despite losing their last 3 games. And to make matters worse for Saskatchewan, they will be without the league's leading receiver, Curtis Marsh. The company line from the Rough Riders is Marsh has been placed on the suspended list while he deals with personal issues.
It's unfortunate the situation that's taken place, but at the same time, it has not distracted us, from our ulterior goal, and that's to win a football game.
This comes on the eve of a huge game for the Riders. They trail BC by 2 points for the third and final playoff spot in the Western Conference. In order to win Saturday, the Riders will need a better effort from veterans and rookies alike.
First of all, I check myself before I check anybody else, and I know I should have been picking my game up a little bit better from the get-go. And and I know there's some other people out there that haven't been playing to their potential, too.
You have to look at where both Maxie and guys like myself came from. I mean, we were both in successful professional teams as far as program-wise in the past few years, where Maxie won 3 Grey Cups, one with Baltimore, 2 with Toronto, and myself, I won a Grey Cup with Calgary. So you do expect a lot better out of these guys because they're on a professional level now, despite how old they are.
The 5-9 Lions do not enter this game with a ton of momentum either. They aren't a lock for a playoff spot by any means, and if you need evidence of that, just look back to last week's loss to Winnipeg.
Everyone in the country knows how important it is for both teams because we're fighting for that last playoff spot. We keep helping one another in that we both keep losing, so the edge stays the same.
The important thing for our team is to come together. We can't let all the problems that we've had over the year, haunt us anymore. We just got to put them behind us and move on.
So it will be James Epps that takes the spot of Curtis Marsh as far as the receiving situation is concerned. Now, also for the Rough Riders, they are going to be doing some experimenting in the backfield. Both Dion Tyler and Darren Davis are expected to play. Ray Morrison, TSN, Regina.
And you can catch that one on the CBC, 3 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday. Now, when BC signed Don Blair back in '99, Adam Rita said they had their #1 priority. After last week's post-game tirade, has he now become their #1 headache?
That's a good question. Immediately after a tough loss to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers last week, Donnie Blair went on local radio, CKNW, and just ripped the Lions, their coaching staff, their play selection. In my opinion, just an appalling lack of respect for his teammates, for the organization, for the owner. When teams are struggling, what they need is unity from their players, not pop-off comments from oversized egos. Case Stevenson told me when he was at Edmonton that Donnie Blair was the most selfish player that he had ever coached. And if you look at his remarks last week, it certainly indicates that Kay was right. Adam Rita, Steve Barato, they're both good football men, both good people. They need Donnie Blair to talk less and play better.
Well, and that's been decided. They talked to Donald Blair, and they decided that issue. It's put to bed. He's frustrated, as well as many BC Lions. Speaking of Adam Rita, he says this. Last year when they were 13-5, they won a lot of close football games. 6 out of the 13 games they won were by 5 points or less. This tells me that they're making the plays. This year, that's not the case. The last 3 weeks, they've made some silly mistakes in some critical parts of football games that have cost them a chance to win a football game. That's the difference this year. Players are not frustrated because they're losing. They're frustrated because they're not winning football games right now, Chris, and they're playing well enough right now to win games.
And another team that's not winning football games is the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And this whole thing with Curtis Marsh is kind of disturbing. I mean, he is the top receiver in the Canadian Football League, but he is so lost on what previously happened in his career down in the States. He doesn't even know which province, which state is bordering the province of Saskatchewan. I really don't think they need Curtis Marsh. You know what's happening right now? Guys like Dave Ritchie and Mike Clemens, they're laughing because the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the BC Lions are kind of self-destructing. They're infighting, and this is a time when you really got to get together. Both of these teams, Saskatchewan and BC, better get their act together. They play each other 2 times in the next 4 games, and if one of these teams sweeps those 2 games, they're going to kick the other team out. So it's a matter of which team can focus, put the personal aside, be pros, and play football.
You mentioned Dave Ritchie's laughing. May not be laughing this weekend as he takes on Mike Pringle in the Owls. You know, Mike Pringle resides in the offseason in Mississippi. During the season, he resides in the end zone. 18 touchdowns so far this season. Almost breaking the all-time record for rushing touchdowns. All of them are rushing so far. He's also just 4 away from Corey Philpott's all-time TD record of 22. Bombers and the Owls on Sunday. Bombers have weapons too, of course. And not a traditional rivalry, but Eric, there is bad blood between these two as well.
Yeah, there is. You know, in spite of the success that Montreal enjoyed back in 1997, 1998, when Dave Ritchie was with the club, when Dave Ritchie left, he had some hard feelings. I mean, he had a real attitude. And since he's gone to Winnipeg, a lot of these games have been very emotional. It's basically been a case, though, of the haves versus the have-nots. That's not the case anymore. Obviously, Winnipeg is much, much better. And this game is important for different reasons besides just the emotion of Dave Ritchie and his relationship with Jim Popp. If Winnipeg can win, they're in great position to get in this playoff, whether it be in the East or the West, Chris.
And Eric, how many times have you heard this in football? Let's just play great defense, great special teams, and hope our offense doesn't really spoil the show. Well, I think at Winnipeg, it's kind of different. Let's play great offense, let's play great special teams, and hope our defense can hang in there. Offensively, Winnipeg is hot. Kahari Jones has had his 2 best games. Robert Gordon, Milt Stegall are really playing their best football right now. And on special teams, Albert Johnson is doing his thing, and he's being productive in terms of field position. I think Winnipeg has an opportunity here because they're hot. They're moving the football. They're scoring points. It's just a matter of can they score more points than the opponents they play against.
Well, you talk about a team that's hot, Chris. The Montreal Alouettes. Dave Easley, the special teams coordinator, has got the special teams back on track. We saw Terry Baker pull a punt down and get a critical first down. We saw Tyree Davis return one. And this is a sign that's not good for the rest of the teams in the league because the defense is rolling. They shut down Edmonton's strong running game and Mark Nora. And then the offense with Anthony Calvillo continuing on his most outstanding year. And I say that because there is some discrepancy there, whether it's Pringle or whether it's AC, Anthony Calvillo, who's the most outstanding player on that football team. This is a team that's hitting on all cylinders, should be a heck of a ball game.
Now, our game on Sunday is the Battle of Alberta Round 4. Before we get to it, let us review the first 3 rounds. There already have been this season. They were pretty good. First game in Edmonton. Stamps dominated. Dave Dickinson to Travis. More. How do you like it? How do you like it? More. Nice moves, and he's into the end zone. Then, perhaps one of the most memorable plays of the year. Alan Pitts, who is still the highest-rated quarterback in the CFL this year because of this. To Dave Dickinson, Stamps go on to win it 44-22. Let's go to Labor Day. The back-to-back games beginning Monday in Calgary. Dave Dickinson out of this one. Troy Kopp in and in trouble. Senior Mobley with the interception and goes 44 yards for the TD. Esquire up 12-0. Then Nealon Green gets the offense going. Kez McCorvey, great hands in coverage. Eskies win it 30-18 the final. Just 4 days later in Edmonton, Green had another good game. Scrambling, 24 yards up the gut. Pater. Eskies were ahead 7-0. He does it with the legs, and he also does it with the yard. To Terry Vaughn, 15-yard touchdown. Edmonton goes on to win it 31-10 and sweep the Labor Day back-to-back Battle of Alberta Classics. Now, ever since they swept those games, so this is what's happened. Edmonton has gone 2-4. Calgary has gone 5-1, and because of that, they can now wrap up the West with a victory this weekend. Sunday, 5 o'clock Eastern, we have it for you. Travis Moore on the verge of a 1,000-yard season. Nealon Green has been slumping, and he hasn't got much help. Edmonton tied for the league with most quarterback sacks allowed. And Calgary going for first sounds like a broken record.
You know, it's amazing because we're not even in mid-October, and here if the Calgary Stampeders beat the Edmonton Eskimos, they're going to have first place wrapped up. But the thing that impresses me is the history. For 11 consecutive seasons, Wally Buono has had 10 wins or more. For 11 consecutive seasons, this team has made the playoffs. And I think that's remarkable. When you're rebuilding a football program, when you're the new coach coming in, the first thing you're looking for is improvement through the length of the season. Then you want to get a winning record. Then you want to get into the playoffs. Then you want home field advantage in the playoffs. Then you want to get to the Grey Cup. Then you want to win it all. For the last 11 years, the Calgary Stampeders, they're not worried about improving. They're not worried about getting into the playoffs. They've been there. It's a remarkable testament to the consistency of the organization from the top to the bottom. In a lot of ways, they are the class of the league.
Yeah, they are, Chris. Wally has done a truly outstanding job. There are two ways you can get into the playoffs, and these two teams, Calgary and Edmonton, are taking very, very different routes. In Calgary, they're playing outstanding defense. Dave Dickinson is healthy, and they are one terrific football team. In Edmonton, they're struggling at the most important position on the field, at quarterback, and their defense, hey, they can't stop the run. They've had a lot of injuries in fairness to Don Matthews, but he needs to get this team back on track and focus before they get in the playoffs, Matty.
Well, they're happy to be talking playoffs. Last year at this time, they weren't even considered, Eric, and this year they have a chance, and that's all they need. What they need to do after the ball game last week against Montreal is learn from this film and scrap it and regroup, wipe that slate clean, get everybody on the same page, and make sure that they're going to go into Commonwealth like they have in years past and defend their territory like the Edmonton Eskimos can. I believe that Don Matthews has the people. He needs to go through his sick bay, see who's healthy, who's not, get him back on the football field, and he can put them in the right situations, and they will make some noise here towards that stretch run.
And that sick bay has been very full. All right, you saw the highlights of the Battle of Alberta. You heard the guys talk about the Battle of Alberta. But unless you're in the lineup, the only real way to experience what it feels like to be in the Battle of Alberta is with our sounds of the game.
Sounds of the game.
Willie, what's that workout tomorrow?
If he gets down towards your face now, as Holdy comes, he may tell you, grab, grab, grab.
But then again, I'm trying to stay inside.
Well, that's what I told
Wide
you.
open, baby. I'm sweet.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I shot it back, lead late. I went right.
He does play shade and back it up.
Hey,
on the smash, you might want to come in a little bit after you sit.
Right. Go outside.
Yeah. Hey, those play action fakes is not working. They're not getting out of there. Because we're not running the football.
They don't want to see us no more. They don't want to see us.
They don't want to come back.
They don't want to see us.
Throw the hitch on Walter, you're going to come up and tackle it, but you're not jumping at to take it away because you're still the deep third player. On Walter.
Okay.
Good job, fellas. That's the way to play. They can't beat us.
Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN is brought to you in part by Adidas, by Molson Canadian, I am Canadian, and by 3M Filtrate Air Cleaning Filters. Breathe the difference.
James Duthie back with you. Well, if you've been busy with the Flicker tonight, watching baseball or hockey or Dawson's Creek, Schulte's favorite show, and you didn't see all of our game, here is exactly what you missed. Argos and Ticats second half of the back-to-back. First quarter, second drive. Kerwin Bell to Tyrone Brown on a third down and goal. They went for it, 7-0 Argos. Second quarter, 10-0 Argos. Todd Bankhead right to Calvin Tiggle was deflected. There was no receiver anywhere. 17-0 Argos. Third quarter, Ticats try to get back in it. Bankhead engineers a pretty solid drive and finishes it with Mike Moriali. 21-8. Ticats had a light, but not for long. Argos answer right back. Bell looking and finding Andre Kerwin, and Kerwin finding his way into the end zone. But Matt, yeah, when things are going well, things go well.
That's right. You watch it here on the replay, and watch this. O'Shea deflects this ball, going to Mitchell, right into Kerwin's hands.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
To me, that is just, that is the cards and the full moon and Friday the 13th being online in one for you.
32-8 is the final. Argos absolutely dominant for the second straight week. Ticats offense was completely inept. without Danny McManus. We'll be back to wrap things up right after this. There are your final numbers on the game, and absolutely dominant for the Toronto Argonauts, 208 yards passing. The net yards, well, Hamilton came on a little bit in the second half, but that doesn't even really tell the story. And 6 turnovers for the second straight week. That absolutely killed the Ticats. And Toronto, you know, last week was mostly defense, Chris. This was a complete effort.
You know, it was. And I was sitting here one day with Matt Dunnigan, and we got into this little argument. I says, Matt, you know, if you got a great fullback and a great offensive line, it really doesn't matter how quick your quarterback gets rid of the football or what happens in that position. Everything's going to come together. And he made me now say the fact is that, no, Chris, you are wrong, and I defer. He is right. When you look at this in the big picture right now, go back to the Edmonton game, right? Dan Crowley, when he stepped in for Nealon Green, he really struggled. We saw what happened to Calgary over the Labor Day, and tonight we saw it. If you do not have competency at the quarterback position in this league, you're not going to win, Matt.
Dude,
you like it, don't you?
I can't believe you even went there. You know, it's like I forced you to say that.
No, it's true, though.
He made that opinion solely on himself there. I'll tell you this, though. My opinion of the Hamilton Tiger-Cats, they weren't ready to play football tonight. I saw a lot of players do a lot of strange things. Maybe it had to do with Friday the 13th. I'm not sure. But it proves a point. You can't turn it on and turn it off. You have to come out with your engines racing or you're going to get beat to the finish line. And that's what happened tonight. Toronto Argonauts came to Ivory Wynn to put a kick in on the Hamilton Tiger-Cats, and that's exactly what they did because Hamilton was not ready to play football. And it's an old saying. You've got to be ready to go from the get-go.
Yeah, and this was a big game for Hamilton, and they didn't show up. And I think you got to give a lot of credit to Michael Clemens. You saw during that interview the personality, the charisma. This team is just responding. Look back at John Heward. This team was 1-6-1 under him. What did John Heward do? He talked about systems and procedures. Now you got a guy like Michael Pinball Clemens, who's got unbelievable people skills. And what happens? They're 4-3. This is the team. It's motivated, it's alive, it's confident, and they're fun to watch.
Okay, so quickly now you have a Danny McManus situation where we know these hamstring things are nagging. You sat him 2 games in a row. You're now have a potential to be 4 points behind Montreal. Do you sit him again?
Well, I think if Montreal wins, I think that's the key. If Montreal beats Winnipeg this weekend, and